What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
When I said earlier, hey, please don't touch that shoulder because it's really in pain.
I didn't catch that part.
That's okay.
When I started doing you wanted the rub, and I gave the rub, and then you liked the rub.
Get up a little higher.
So what happened here? And of course, we just did a pre-show, patreon.com/kindafunny. You can check it out on the video version. Of course, for $1, you could watch this recorded live as it happened. But you probably didn't do that unless you're watching live right now.
And if you're watching live, you didn't get the whole free show, so you're going to have to go back to Patreon and watch it because there's about 15 minutes of exclusive content.
Oh, what happened? I didn't know that. I was late.
There's a mistake where we were sitting here doing stuff and we weren't live.
Oh.
Well, we were live, but we weren't streaming.
We were streaming. I don't know what happened.
So, Kevin, get on your microphone. What happened?
I'm on my microphone. I don't know. It was streaming. It said it was streaming. I stopped the stream, restarted it, and then it was going.
Well, this is all news to me, and I apologize.
Now, the whole reason I said that, of course, was because when you were going to ask what happened to your shoulder again, I was going to say, well, wouldn't you like to know? You now have to go back and subscribe to Patreon.
Sure.
And watch the pre-show. Because
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell them.
Sure.
Really, I just pulled it a little bit less.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt that much.
Okay, cool.
Well, I was trying to
I'm sorry. I missed the point where you were telling. I was talking. Somebody else was talking.
You're all good, man.
Okay.
You're all good.
I
man.
apologize.
I'm sorry to bring that negative energy into it. I meant it as a joke, and it sounded very fucking mean.
Talk to me about your negative energy right now. How much did Wild Wings hurt or help the negative energy?
Wild Wings is fine. I don't dislike Wild Wings. I don't dislike Wild Wings.
Sure.
I like the wings at Wild Wings. I like the overall sports bar experience.
Can I just cut you off right there?
Yeah.
The problem, of course, is that the Wild Wings here at the Serramonte Mall has terrible service.
Terrible service.
As someone,
you guys just say ceremony,
as somebody who enjoys Wild Wings, loves Wild Wings, some would say, has been going there for years, Brett. We'll talk to you later.
Hi.
Would say this is the worst Wild Wings I've ever been to. And not only the worst Wild Wings in terms of service I've been to, I mean in consistently bad.
Oh, yeah.
Every time you go there and you walk the front, over there at Tim Gettys.
Never had a good
Baby
experience
Blues.
there, ever in my life. At Wild Wings, many good experiences.
Sure, of course.
At this Wild Wings, it's consistently like maybe 3 out of 10.
This is Bret Griffen, by the way. He came in. He's a Patreon supporter. He came in patreon.com/kindafunny. You can do it too. We'll explain all that later. We'll talk about it later. But yes, every time we walk in there, no one at the front, phones ringing to death. And as you said today, the waiters and waitresses, they come out, they're across the place. Farther, they're like across the street if you know how the Kind of Funny office is laid out. They're not even where Kevin is. They're past that. And they do the thing where they come out and they look at you and then they scuttle back to wherever they are.
They don't want it. Yeah.
They're like, not my problem.
Like
see, I've been there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm often there in my life where I'm like, I look and I see something happen. I'm like, I just walk away.
Not on me. That ain't, I'm not the hostess.
Not on me.
What it feels like is an old Western town where you're a stranger and you come in and people board up their doors. You know, they look at it,
sure.
and then you
There's
see
gonna be a
mom
gunfight.
grab
They
her
close the
child
things,
and like
yeah.
scuttle away and like close the door. That's what it felt like every single time we go into there. It is not a welcoming experience.
No.
It got so bad today.
Yeah, Brett, you've been to a Wild Wings before, correct?
Yeah.
Was this a bad Wild Wings experience for you?
It wasn't a bad experience, but
Bad
considering
service.
Service, it was.
Of course, Nick
interesting.
ordered, the half the food comes out, then we wait too long for the other half. I'll give you that. Again, I'll still say this. Was the service bad today? Yes, it was. Was it still the best group service we've ever had at Wild Wings? Yes. Because we've left Wild Wings when they just don't come to us at Serramonte.
That's not good.
I'm not.
One time
We're still very excited. I'm
to
still
go to Dave & Buster's where Nick proceeded to fucking vomit his brains out.
Yeah. Don't eat the Cobb salad at Dave & Buster's.
If you remember, the problem was the salad you got at Dave & Buster's came with a piece of fried cheese, probably as big as this sheet of
That's
paper
right.
sitting in it.
And they ate it
right.
all.
I ate the whole
And
thing.
Greg Miller, a Team Fat member, if not president, well, Portillo's president now, ate about half of it. And I said, I have to stop. This is no good. And Nick continued to eat the rest of it.
Well, the rest of the salad was terrible. Dave & Buster's not known for its
cuisine.
It's food.
Yeah.
It's more of an arcade that happens to serve some food when and if it wants to. The Buffalo Wild Wings experience today got so bad that at one point, Kevin goes, do you think they'd mind if I just got up and refilled my own beverage? This is not a self-serving beverage station. This is clearly this is only for employees only. And all of us unanimously were like, I don't think they'll give 10 shits if you get up and do it.
And
the
now
waitress saw him do it.
The best part
said
about
nothing.
it is
said
Kevin
nothing.
stood up and walked over, and me and Nick joked like, of course Kevin goes to do this right when the waitress is walking towards us. Looks at him, looks at us, looks at the other thing, just keeps going. Zero fucks.
I ordered a burger with avocado and bacon on top of it, and it came just the patty. And I was like, she's like, is everything okay? And I'm like, no, I'd love to get my bacon and avocado. She goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
And a soda.
And a soda. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot to get that for you. I'll get it right out. 10 minutes go by.
No soda.
No soda. She comes back. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. They're still working on that bacon. Okay. They're still working on the bacon. Then about another 10 minutes comes by. Then she drops the check. The bacon, at this point, she can't even make an excuse for the bacon.
Yeah.
What
The
I
bacon just got up
appreciated
and
was
left.
this. We've set it up. Bad service. Again, the best service we ever had at Saramonte. Bad service. However, after the food's been delivered, we've been eating our main course here. Joey Noel has the brilliant idea of, hey, excuse me, waitress, can we actually get a basket of potato wedges? To which the waitress says, with no joke in her voice, oh my gosh. Then goes around a corner, and a different waitress brings out potato wedges immediately.
No. Joey had ordered the potato wedges. That's why the woman that was strike 3. Because that's why the woman was like, oh, damn it. Like, she had just straight up forgotten half
I
of the
thought
shit we
these
ordered.
things had magically appeared.
No.
Then they were like, oh, sure. And
No,
then
they were on the way. Apparently, they just didn't get
It'd
delivered.
be similar to the time in France. A young Greg and a young Poe went there on a high school trip, right? Juniors. We're not a legal drinking
seen
age
pictures
in
of this.
America. Yeah, you have. Poe's real drunk. We're not drinking age in America, so you sneak off at night and you go drink, right? We went up to a bar. One of our friends, Mike. I'm not gonna say his last name, but it's one of those names that like sounds real good if you say it. You know, you like Tim Gettys is a good name. Mike has a great last name. I only knew him in high school. Don't know if he's a murderer now or a doctor. He probably doesn't want me telling these stories. So.
Sure.
We went there and he went up to the bar and was like, hey, can I get Jack and Coke or whatever it was? And the bartender was like, sure. Grabbed a glass and went, you know what? Reached under the bar and brought out a pre-made Jack and Coke and put it down and said, I didn't do anything to it, I swear. And Mike drank it. Because, of course, you can believe a bartender in France when you're 17. Like, you know what I mean? But it was that I wouldn't suggest doing that. Similar to how I was alarmed about these potato wedges, and now I just understand.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's where we're going on that
That's
story.
where we were going with that story.
I was gone for a second, but you brought it right back.
I just wanted to.
ground
Well,
zero.
I like when I tell a story to be a little bit like M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
You don't know what the twist is going to be. It's kind of
the twist was I was that bartender. No, the twist in this story was that not only we were actively bitching about this place. Myself probably leading
Very
the charge
loudly.
very loudly. Just to see if the table of 3 employees that was sitting next to us would do anything about this, and they didn't do shit.
Not only did they
didn't
not
do shit.
we were like, oh yeah, like we have a group of 7, and they're like, oh, there's a party table over there.
Yeah,
It was just two
Like,
tables
we
put
walked
together.
in,
Two tables
two
pushed
tables
together.
together.
Yeah.
So we still had to ourselves put a 3rd table for the amount of people we had. It's like
The woman seating us struggled to count menus. Joey and I waited. She struggled to count out to 7 menus. Now, here's what I want to say.
High as
If you
fuck.
are the staff from the Battle Creek, Michigan Wild Wings, you were fantastic. I'm not
That's the
painting
thing,
a
man.
broad brush about Wild
This-
Wings.
yes.
I love Buffalo Wild Wings. And here's my thing. The reason we're in this conundrum is the fact that we said, hey, Brett,
Hey.
where do you want to go eat?
Brett fucked
and
us.
Brett said, what'd you say?
Food is food.
Food is food is what this motherfucker said. So we
could've
broke
fallen
into
for
2
it.
camps. Outback, which I think not that great, but I go to
Great
or whatever.
service, though.
Great
The service is not
And
great.
they're a
You are
Coke
comparing
restaurant.
the service versus the Wild Wings service today.
Dude,
right now,
service is
Portillo dragging a fucking pizza to you is great service compared to what we had at Wild
If you
Wings.
could teach Portillo to drag me a pizza, that would be amazing.
all right.
Without eating half the
Outback
pizza.
service, I give it
great.
up to them for a chain restaurant. They're fantastic. Always there. My drink is never hits
The
floor.
only time we've ever had poor
Okay,
service,
that's fair.
and it wasn't even
Was
poor
when
service.
fucking Cool Greg got
They
literally
decided-
cold mac and cheese.
Yeah, they decided to bring an ice block out for his mac and cheese.
I'm just
That's not
saying,
service.
it was
That
that,
was the
we've
kitchen
been to
fucking up.
Outback a lot recently.
Yeah.
And I think that in terms of service, yes, Outback is better. In terms of food, Wild Wings is better. And so it was just a choice of what do you want to eat. You were
agree.
excited about Wild Wings
I was
today.
I was
I
very
do-
excited about Wild Wings.
I do also want to preface, because Greg was like, oh, why do you hate Wild Wings? I do not. I'm disappointed because I like Wild Wings. And when I've ordered to go and picked it up, it's always great. But I want the service to be better so we can go
I
there
agree.
more often.
I agree.
This
I
is the
agree.
problem. If there was another Wild Wings we could drive to where the service was phenomenal, that would be our lunch spot all the time. And there's just not one in a 70-mile radius that I know of.
I told the story to many people at the
I thought
Battle
you were going to laugh
Creek.
because there's like one right down the street. That we
No,
don't
I
go
laughed
to.
because it was one of those things where me and Cool Greg's laying on the ground and we made eye contact as he popped his head up, and it was just like, well, now we're both looking at each other while Cool Greg's laying on the ground, and he flicked me off, and I was like, there we go. That's how we
Greg way.
transition
That's
out of
the
that.
Cool Greg way.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy show each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bringing a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can get each and every episode early. How early, Brett?
You could be watching it right now
This is
live.
why I like this.
Brett's
guy.
a-
So
you're
good. I like
knocking
this
out of
guy.
the park so far,
Exactly.
Brett.
You know what I mean?
So far. Because last week we asked that same question, and it was just silence. Dead silence.
Rip.
We didn't ask that question last week. So I totally fucked up. I hosted last week. I can't remember the Glockenspiel. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, that's the one. There's an episode in between this all, isn't there?
Yeah, what-
Oh, interesting. I forgot about that. Yeah, you can watch it live as we put it up on Patreon or broadcast on patreon.com/kindafunny. And then if you missed it live, you can get it on patreon.com/kindafunny the following Friday as one big podcast and one big video that includes the pre and post show,
An
the live
excellent
show
pre-show.
people get. It was.
Today. You missed a big portion of this, but
I think so did the audience.
and now that you can go back and watch it,
Yeah.
we did a breakdown of a pie chart of the rate, like the idiots in the office,
Yeah.
like who's
the craziest
percentage wise out of
idiot,
100,
yeah.
out of all of us, how much?
Oh, this
percentage
is
are we
good. I
idiots?
should watch
Who's
this,
the
yeah.
biggest pie chart?
Who's as Joey's the least idiot, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making
Now,
sure.
I want to preface.
On those on the list.
When I say
Somewhere.
idiocy, I mean like idiocy, like craziness, lunacy, chaos.
Those
I
are
don't mean
different
just
things.
like
Those are
which one
different
of us is
words.
stupidest, because I would still probably keep the same biggest part of that pie. But you got, I think the best breakdown we saw was as far as crazy factor. Like
I'm
and I don't
winning
mean
that.
bad.
I'm winning that.
You're winning that. I think it was like 35% you, 20% me.
Nick and Kev were
You were
tied.
15.
Oh,
Me and Kev
I
were
went
tied 20.
35% to 20. Well, I guess
Well,
we're bringing
it's
out
a
people.
percentage. It's only out of 100%.
Okay.
You get 100% in my heart.
Thank you. That's
The
what I like to hear.
craziness.
Because
Okay.
like when we come in and you toss me the ball, like the imaginary ball, I like to imagine I shove it into my eyes and fire
Sure
pours
did,
out.
man.
You know what I mean? That's what it's all about.
Poop it right out your butt.
No, didn't go.
But it's like a
there.
Nerf ball, so it compresses in your lower bowels and then pops right back up. Same form as it was before, because you can't keep good Nerf down.
If you don't want to give us any money, you can head over to youtube.com/kindafunny or podcast services around the globe, where 1 week later, that's right, Friday to Friday, it's posted for your free listening enjoyment. But if you enjoy what we do here, we'd love you to come to Patreon and help out, just like Bret Griffen did. Hey, Bret.
Hi.
How are you?
Look like
Good. How are you?
Do they call you Brit ever? He's going to keep
No.
asking until you answer, so
No,
no?
no.
Okay. Brett, why did you want to come on the Game Over Greggy show?
Because it's an experience of a lifetime. It's always been a goal since I started watching. So I took a couple years to save up, and here I am.
Thank you so much for doing that. Thanks
for
for
having
letting
me.
us be a part of your life.
Yeah.
So, obviously, you have topics, we have topics, everything's happening. But first, what I want to do is give you the chance to pimp all your wares.
Oh, boy.
Right?
Okay.
I surprised you.
Pimping the
You came on.
wares?
You came on Kind of Funny Games Daily today.
Yeah, I did that.
Andrea, the trophy is filled with trash. We covered all that.
Yep.
You Twitch stream.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
So I stream over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You can find me in numerous places on the internet at Enigma9011, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Xbox Live, PSN, Nintendo, and Steam, and all that stuff.
It'll all be in the description on the YouTube video.
Sure. But you can find me over there. I've been streaming for about 3 years. I started a YouTube channel with my friends maybe 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And we were doing some stuff together. It was just kind of an idea. Hey, do you want to try this out? Sure, I'll support it and help you guys with whatever you need. And then my friends kind of dropped out, and I picked up the ball. I was like, this is fun. So I've been doing it as a hobby for that time. And then the affiliate program started
Sure.
with Twitch. So now I'm able to make some income out of it. Nothing livable, but, little extra side change.
Step by step.
Scrap.
Exactly. Yeah.
Little going out money. You
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about?
Where did the 9011 come from?
Okay, so this was my original gamer tag way back when. I liked the word Enigma from wrestling. I was a big Jeff Hardy fan.
Oh, nice.
And
All
then,
right.
I thought you were gonna go
9011.
Edward Nigma.
That
Yeah,
too,
Batman.
yeah. So the 9011 honestly was just random numbers at the time, and people kept
Kids
asking.
are dumb, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, I need to make a name.
There you
Here's
go.
some fucking numbers. Remember when everyone would put like the little X and then the big X
Yep.
before the thing?
I
And
mean,
then
like
the
when
X
they
would do
would,
that?
every Twitch
Every
name is still that
YouTuber, every
XX,
Twitch.
the name XX.
Is that really?
Yes. Read the sub someday. You do work around here.
I do, but like, I don't know.
There's a few of them, but it's like
You don't
not
know
like
what it's
the
like.
AIM
You don't
days.
know what it's like for me and Nick over there reading all the subs every day.
Does
You know
Nick
what I
know
mean?
what it's like?
did Nick try
Hey,
to
Joey,
did Nick
tried it
try to
today.
pawn
Can
that
you
off
read
on
the
Joey
subs?
today? Joey straight up said no. She was like,
today,
no, fucker.
today, no, it was today you asked, hey, Joey, can you read the subs? And from the other room, Andrea was like, do it yourself, you lazy ass.
Piece of shit. I love reading the subs though. Thanks guys. Thanks for supporting the channel.
So it started off as random numbers, but we've kind of retroactively given it meaning. I was born in the 90s, and I graduated high school in 2011.
Like we retconned your username. I like that quite a bit.
So yeah, I've been doing that. YouTube content. I try and put stuff up weekly. I do a bi-weekly podcast. It's called the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. That looks very similar to another podcast you might know. And then I've been doing weekly vlogs because a friend suggested that, and that's been a lot of fun. Just kind of documenting week to week what's going on.
When you say bi-weekly,
yes,
do you mean twice a week or do you mean
no?
once
So
every
twice every month. Sorry, yeah, every other week. So I'll record.
It's a great question because it's confusing.
That's the thing, though. Is there an official statement on that? 'Cause
Bi-weekly would be twice a week. Bi-monthly would be twice a month.
Bi-monthly. Yeah.
I think that's.
What
the
if I do it
official-
every other month?
Just like a fathom is very, very deep in the ocean.
Yeah.
Do you understand? No, Kevin, nod.
Kevin says that's not correct.
Kevin, correct
I want to get into your topic, of course, Brett.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is something we never ask. How did you find Kind of Funny? You are a member of the Kind of Funny Best Friends. You came to Kind of Funny Live. You've been around. I've seen you. I know you. When did all this happen? Hold on. Sorry.
wrong.
Breaking
I'm dead
news. Kind of Funny Kevin has brought up over here Bi-Weekly's definition, a periodical that appears every 2 weeks or twice a week.
I'm wrong.
That's such.
I'm wrong.
Like, pick a side. You know. What
I know, right? That's like, yeah.
Well, what's
I
bi-monthly?
take the medication bi-weekly.
Yeah, look up bi-monthly.
Do you mean twice a week or do you mean
Bi-weekly
I do
versus
it.
fortnightly.
Fortnightly.
Go fuck yourselves.
Twice a month or every 2 months. This is not no. Oh, I guess
It can be both
bi-monthly,
ways.
that
It's like
does make
literally it
sense.
can be whatever it wants to be. You know what I mean?
God damn
No,
it.
I want to start bringing when the best friends come on. I want to know, how did you get involved with Kind of Funny?
What's your
Yeah.
backstory? What's the origin story?
So I did watch you guys in IGN and read content there.
Sure.
That was my go-to for video game news, just like anybody. And then
Until Ryan McCaffrey came in.
Ruined it all.
son of a bitch. And then I don't know. I caught a live stream on just the GameOverGreggy channel where you were doing it,
Sure.
and you were playing. I think it was Costume Quest 2.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, somehow through there, I kind of stumbled upon Kind of Funny on the YouTube channel, and I kind of learned about you guys leaving and things like that, and the different programs you guys were doing. I don't know exact date or time frame compared, or
I would be very impressed if you knew the date and
This
time.
day.
It's March 23rd.
8 p.m. Eastern time. Eastern time.
but Kind of Funny Live 1 kind of rolled out. It seemed soon after that.
Sure.
And I
We left January, right? Made our announcement, and then it was June.
May
yeah.
16th.
Oh,
okay.
May. You're right. Yeah, it was May for that one. Shit.
But I've been watching since, and then like you said, I've been to a few events. I lived out in California for a year, so I was able to make the trek up from Anaheim up to here for Kind of Funny Live 2, and then I went to that San Diego Comic-Con meet and greet, and then Kind of Funny Live 3 I've been able to go to, and prom recently, which was a nice surprise that it was a birthday present without even meaning to be a birthday present.
It's your
You
birthday.
and I share a birthday too.
Holy shit.
Aw. That's why we gave you Smash Mouth.
So yeah, it's since then.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show, supporting us. Remember, of course, patreon.com/kindoffunny. There's a million goodies to support us, make it all happen. Just like Tom Bach and Warren Moore did. They are Patreon producers as well today. And of course, paying the bills, sponsoring us is Blue Apron. But I'll tell you about that later. Now, Brett, what is your topic?
Oh,
You've been
boy.
thinking about this forever. Coming
I
on
have.
this show, building up for years. What do you got?
Okay, so my topic is change. Right now,
I hate nickels.
right now
too,
in my life, I'm going through a pretty big change. I worked as a Taekwondo instructor for numerous years.
Yeah.
And it was time to leave that job. Not because I didn't like teaching or anything like that. It was just how myself and my coworkers were being treated. I had enough. So it was time to change the pace and find something new. So I left that job, and obviously you guys have had quite the amount of change in your life with IGN to Kind of Funny, getting married, having
Sure.
thought of having kids,
Yeah.
and comedy and other things. So I kind of wanted
I was going to say Tim
More
bought,
Jordans.
Tim bought a subwoofer.
Did.
a plan for a car,
Yeah.
and the paint job. So there, I just want to kind of ask you guys, like, when did you know it was time to do something different and
Well,
change?
I want to turn it on you to begin with,
Sure.
right? So I need more backstory. You were
Yeah.
a Taekwondo instructor for how long?
About 7 or 8 years.
Holy crap. At the same place?
Yes.
Wow. And,
Yeah, I
and
did
this
it
is in
25. So,
Yeah.
like, that's a
Yeah.
percentage of your life.
Yeah, so I've been training in Taekwondo since I was 7. I achieved my 4th degree black belt around 21 or 22.
How many
Okay.
degrees are there?
9.
98.
Is that how many black belts you have in
Jiu-jitsu.
MMA? So when you fill in the gap there, you kind of left it hanging.
But a 4th degree is in any black belt, in any discipline, is really impressive. I walked in last night, and there was actually a guest that we had in the
Jackie
dojo
Chan.
who was, I think, I forgot his last name. His name is David. I think Breyer or Brewer. Anyway, long story short is, older gentleman was talking to my instructor, and I could, like, when you walk in, you can tell you're like, this guy's got to be something because it's not. There's just a way about people, like they've been training for a while. You can see you're like, this guy's very comfortable sitting on the mat. Takes out his black belt, wraps around his waist. He's got 7 stripes. He's he's like the 5th American black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ever under the Machados.
Stripes degrees?
Yeah.
Stripes are degrees, yeah. But they're, I don't know how you get them in Taekwondo, but you get them for various, like, it takes a long time to get a stripe on your black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. And I was just like, holy shit, like I was, Jesus Christ.
Do you think?
And then I totally embarrassed myself. I was like, oh, where are you from? And he's like, LA. And then my instructor introduces him, and I'm like, oh my God, he takes it one of like the best places like he teaches it one of the best places on the planet. The Machados, like it's.
And that's when you knew you were fucked. He pointed at Nick and he's like, come over here, take off your shoe.
Take off your shoe.
Yeah, it was very, very nice, but it was awesome.
Sorry, Tim, what were you saying?
Do you think you'll ever be a black belt if you keep at it, or is that like out of the realm?
No, that's my goal. It's just going to take a really long time. I don't train enough to progress, and I don't compete enough to progress belts. But my goal is black belt.
Wow.
Yeah, it just might take me 10 to 15 years to get it. But yeah. I mean, it's average person gets promoted to a blue belt within 1 to 3 years in jiu-jitsu. So there's blue, purple, brown, and black after that, and it gets harder and longer. So one day
I'd stop it.
One day. What's that? You stop at
So you
blue?
started at 7.
Yes.
You've been doing this whole thing. So at what point do you start training people?
I started assisting with classes at 15 or 16.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You teach the kid classes sometimes?
We would teach everybody. So from ages 3 to 4, which is our Mighty Might program, all the way up until 80 plus, whoever's there.
And one question, I'm sorry, is this in New York or
Yes,
is this
this is
out?
upstate
Okay,
New York.
because you live in New York now, but you did a brief stint in San Diego.
Yeah, so I left the Taekwondo school once to go live in California and didn't do anything there. I thought about it, but
I did nothing in California.
I went there and sat on a bench for a couple days, and I was like, nothing's happening.
I don't get the hullabaloo.
and then when I came back, I went back to the same school.
Okay, sorry.
Picked it back.
Pick it back up.
Yeah. I started assisting classes and then leading groups and then eventually being pretty much top guy at the one location that I was at, besides the boss. But
Sure.
yeah.
And so what changes? You're talking about your topic is change.
Yeah,
you said
topic
you
is
couldn't
change.
deal anymore with how you were being treated, how the other instructors were being treated. What does that mean?
So before California, I was just strictly teaching. I was just in the evenings, 4 to 9, do classes, things like that. When I came,
And was this your like source of income?
that
This
was
is what
my
you
source
did?
of
Okay.
income, yeah. So when I came back, I was offered a daytime position. So office work, calling students who haven't been in, setting up after school programs to go out and teach new kids and things like that, pretty much recruiting and things like that. And then I was also in charge of some computer stuff. Like we had TVs at the schools, so weekly announcements would go up there and a little bit of like social media, Facebook and things like that. So anyways, I did that for about 2 years. And there was just times here and there where my boss has a lot of ideas and they're great and things like that, but sometimes can't communicate the best way to his employees. So there was a couple times where it was pretty much, hey, you're not putting in effort. You need to do better. And I put up with it for a while because, work, there's always going to be good days and bad days and things like that.
Were you putting in effort though?
Yes, absolutely. Like the thing is with that business, I work during the week, I teach classes, but then weekends, there's always something going on. Whether there's a championship twice a year, there's a fundraiser, there's demonstrations, there's extracurricular events, and that's all volunteer, but you need to be there.
Sure. Yeah.
So
There's
getting
no
paid for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like to say you're not putting in effort when I'm doing all these things without any
Compensation.
compensation. And then just knowing what I do during the day and do at night during classes, it just irked me the wrong way. So there was one conversation he had with me and another coworker where he literally put the words out there 0%. And that was the switch in my head was like, okay, I'm done. So I stayed on for a little while. I had my own timetable. And this past July, I wrapped up. I finished. I think I stopped daytime in June because that's when I told him, but he wanted me to stay teaching till July just to kind of rearrange the school and things like that, get some people in place. So I did that up until July, and then I wanted change to do something different. So as I mentioned, I've been doing.
What did he say when you come in and you're like, I'm leaving?
He was not the happiest of campers. But like once we started talking about it and stuff like that, he was a little bit more understanding. Was
there any moment from him of like, I can change, I understand?
Absolutely. he always tries to swing it a certain way, and after a certain amount of time, you kind of pick up on that, and you're like,
Sure.
okay. So like
codependent relationship.
Yeah.
It's like abusive. Yeah.
So I mean, at least before this podcast, there was the open invite to come back and do stuff, but who knows?
He's watching right now live on
he is.
Patreon.
Hi.
Don't hurt
he
me.
hits a button. He just hits a button on his desk and nothing happens, but in his brain he's like,
Yep.
yeah, it's the nuke
Dead.
button. You've been nuked, buddy.
But yeah, so I left that to do different things, and like I said, I've been doing YouTube and Twitch for
Now,
the couple of
as a fourth degree black belt, how hard would it be for you to go to a different dojo or a different gym and say, start taking classes and then potentially start teaching classes there? Because I think the reason I ask is because obviously this is something you've stuck with for a long time. You clearly love it. When I see people who instruct at my gym, I think to myself, it would be really cool to be able to have that, like, to offer the gym. Right. Like, I would love to get to a point like in jiu-jitsu, you can instruct classes if you're purple belt or above. Purple belt's considered a higher belt, so you can start instructing. Not the advanced class, obviously, but if it's a fundamentals class or a class, actually, I think you can do advanced classes. But I always thought it'd be cool, like, if I had a purple belt, to be able to potentially pick up some of the slack for some of my instructors, because it's a hard life. It's not easy. Like, I see what my the guy that owns my gym, what he goes through, where it's like he's there at 8 a.m. for the kids' classes, all the way till 9 p.m. for all the adults' classes, with very, very little break in between because he's running a business.
Right.
And so I just think, like, do you think, like, hey, maybe at some point I will go to a different dojo?
I've definitely thought about it. There's a thing where I have to wait a certain amount of time before I were to work anywhere, and there's
you're like a non-complete?
Yeah, no compete clause and stuff like
Did you
that.
sign that, or is that like a fucking
Yeah, I
some?
did.
Okay, that's fine. Well, you don't want to break that. I was gonna say, if it's like a on your honor thing, I'd be like, all right, Brad.
Yeah, I get you. But yeah, I've definitely thought about that. And like when I was leaving and news came out about that, I had a lot of parents asking about that too. Like, are you opening up your own school and things like that?
You should definitely own it.
And I mean,
How long is the non-compete? If you can say. I mean, if you're not comfortable, don't
couple
worry
of
about
years,
it.
honestly.
Oh,
I don't
Jesus.
know.
Yeah. What would you have you thought about names for your own school? Don't say it now.
No.
But I'd like to
Cobra
throw out
Kai.
a couple Cobra fucking Kai. That'd be amazing.
No, I
That was
mean,
karate.
I've definitely thought about it a little bit more growing up and stuff like that. I was definitely very adamant against it growing up because I was like, this was never a goal I saw myself doing.
Sure.
Wait,
But-
you were adamant against not opening your own thing growing
Right.
up?
Even when even in that business, there was always spitballs of like, oh, we'll expand. You get a school. I'm like, not sure if I want that.
Sure.
And I'll be upfront with it, but I don't know.
You gotta go where life takes change. We're talking about change,
Yeah.
right? I never thought I would own my own company, right? Or be co-owner of my own company,
are.
all right? Don't look at me like that, everybody.
So I don't know. For now, a break is definitely needed. Not because like burnt out sounds harsh, but like taking some time
Clear
for
your
myself.
head,
Yeah,
right? That's the
exactly.
bigger thing about it, especially for it to be a mind fuck of like you said, right? Such a huge portion of your life, right? That's the thing that's crazy about it.
I feel you on that because when I mean, to answer your original question of like, when do you know it's time for change? I think unfortunately, before the change happens. In my when I look back at my life and the times that I've made these big changes from going from like serving food to
photograph. I'm gonna say this is
you.
background music.
when I think back, it's so distracting. It's so distracting.
Why are you making that
I don't
face?
know.
Like,
Oh,
That's
that's
what
how you
said.
fucking sing, all right? When
It
I'm
looks
Billy,
like when you
Billy
pick up a
Joel.
gerbil.
Tattoos and memories.
No, but I mean, I used to serve food and then I got fired a couple times and I was like, this is probably a clear indicator that I can't do this anymore. I just can't put up with management and people. So when I look at the transition between like the big moments of my life from like going from a waiting tables to then shooting like wedding videos and industrial videos and then going from that to working at IGN and then from IGN to here, all of those, I think part of it's like you don't know when the opportunity is going to come by, and part of it's just preparation for when the opportunity comes. Then sometimes it's you make your own opportunity, but you don't know. One thing's for sure, you will feel it, and you will quit, and hopefully it's not a rage quit before. But if you quit, you were probably ready to leave about a year ago or maybe 6 months ago. But you did something great for yourself, and you did something that not a lot of people do because it's really hard to look and have stability and say, I want more.
Right.
And especially since, you have friends or maybe you have family members who are like, that they're not doing so well, and you're like, oh man, am I a fucking asshole if I quit this job I'm doing? You know what I mean? Like I have friends of mine that are still struggling at my age, and I think to myself when I left for Kind of Funny, I was like, am I crazy for leaving a stable job that's really cool at a place that everyone knows that my friends would have died for to have this job and not, and like it's just weird to me. But
Yeah.
So where are you now? You take the time to clear your head.
Yeah.
But is there the panic of you don't have a job? I mean, you're streaming. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like putting down anything
I
you're doing.
need cash. I have a couple bucks on me.
I mean,
We will not refund the Patreon pledge. We will not refund. To be very clear, I'll speak for him. We will not refund the Patreon.
Well, good to know. All right. Scratch that off the list. Yeah, absolutely. There's always panic. I mean, I feel more at peace with it now that the decision's done and over with. But leading up to it, yeah, there was definitely, what are you going to do? Things like that. As for, I guess it kind of goes in the next part of what I would do next. Ideally, video production. I see what you guys do here, editing and things like that, and always get hyped with your videos and like movie trailers and things like that. Like I want, it's a weird thing to say, but the feeling of goosebumps you get whenever a sound cue or something.
That's why I fucking live my life.
That is
dude.
what I aim for.
And it's not hard to do that. Like it's definitely hard to make money doing it, to be fair. But I feel like it all starts with truly believing in the product and like just that. Make content that makes you get those goosebumps, that makes you feel that way. Think about what makes you feel that way and then just make that thing. Once you do it, people will resonate with it and then it will resonate with people and then you're going to be great. And that's the type of thing that gives you that jump off point to get noticed by the right people and then all of a sudden you can make money from it. But it's a delicate balance, man. I don't know. I don't know that it's necessarily like we're lucky that it gets to be our jobs to do this, but like it's a big risk to jump into trying to create something from nothing. You know?
It's true. I literally got the job at IGN because I knew motion graphics, and I literally knew motion graphics because I just saw them on TV and was like, that excites me. That's really cool. I remember I saw, I forget what the commercial was, but I saw a commercial that had like lines that drew themselves, and I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. How come I can't do that? And then I started researching and downloaded an illegal copy of After Effects when I was like in my early 20s and then just taught myself how to do it. And then that became the deciding factor between me getting the job. Obviously, I had some camera experience and stuff too. But the one thing that really set me aside in the early 2000s was nobody knew After Effects, and I did.
And what's cool about that, though, is this is something I didn't know about you, but you mentioned earlier that you did weddings, that you shot weddings.
Oh, yeah.
You shot over 100 weddings.
Yeah, I shot a lot of weddings.
I thought
In one weekend.
I thought that you had like a brief stint of like maybe you shot weddings for like a couple months or whatever. But like, no, that's 100 weddings. Like that was your job.
It was a lot. Yeah. I mean, I'm going back roughing those numbers. I'm not sure when we're talking. But like, yeah, it was like it was 1 to 2 weddings per weekend for like 2 or 3 years.
That's crazy.
Weddings
and then
it was a while.
It's not that got you the job at IGN. It was the After Effects that was.
Right.
I just want to do this thing because it's cool and I believe in it.
Yeah, and I shot I shot a ton of stuff, but predominantly my reel was just all the vanity shots that I had when you shot weddings or like industrials and things like that. I knew how to use some camera work and put some video together, but I totally faked it until I made it with most of it. Because like you forget, but those are the Avid days where when you came and you had to know. Fran put us on Avid, which was like the most intense and expensive video editing software, but it was the best at the time. But I did not know Avid. And Avid, the difference between the workflow in Avid and Premiere versus Final Cut, which is on the other side, night and day. Like it was totally fucking different. But
it's like the difference is like putting together a Lego set versus reading instructions in Japanese.
Yeah, it's
where it's just like
very
one is like,
counterintuitive.
okay, anyone can do this, and the other is like, do you not want people to be able to do this?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Avid's one of those systems that came up. It's like the difference. I don't know if you know cameras or not, but the difference between RED cameras and ARRI cameras. They always talk about like ARRI cameras are the ones that are they're cameras that were made by cameramen for cameramen. So when you pick them up, you're like, this is very intuitive and the body style is perfect and like this, it's very interesting. Then RED cams are like made by engineers. Like this is a camera made by engineers and it's super cool, but it's really fucking hard to use. That's the difference. I went off on a fucking deep nerd tangent.
Did you ever see anybody left at the altar shooting a wedding?
No.
Okay.
But I saw a cake fall over once, and that was hilarious. And I saw it going, and I was like,
did they
I'm
have
not
fun?
here to. I was like one of the watchers. I was one of the watchers, and I was like, I'm not here to mess with history. I'm just here to record it. I just saw it start sliding, and it said, bah.
What a fucking great
They looked at you
line.
like you could have saved it.
Like I had the shot,
No.
not my job. I was like Peter Parker. I feel
Somehow I feel that's my problem.
Oh, that's good.
No, I never actually saw anything crazy shooting weddings. I saw people, people are stressed out, and you get the normal stuff where like people are a little crazy. But no, I never saw anyone get left at the altar, ever, which was good. It was nice. You catch. I saw, every once in a while you pick up just people getting super drunk and stuff like that.
Sure.
You pick up some hilarious chatter over the comms, but
Of course, you're married right now. You've settled down, but at the time, I mean, you're young, you're
when I
virile,
was single?
You're filming shit. Are bridesmaids coming up to you, talking to anybody?
I'll tell you, not at all. Here's my one and only encounter with a bridesmaid.
Here we go.
Okay, cute blonde bridesmaid, sister of the bride.
Sure.
And I'm vibing on this girl, and she's vibing on me, and it's going great. And we're outside when we're smoking.
You're smoking a
cigarettes,
cigarette, of course.
And I'm having a cup of coffee, right? And
You
I
put the
Element, dude.
Right now, did you put the camera on sticks and it's just in there
No,
filming?
we were done filming. I was a professional, so I was like, I filmed.
Okay.
You'd film like the last, the cake cutting was usually the end, and then the bouquet and garter, and that was pretty much it. Then you get more dancing, and then you ask them, you're like, hey, are you guys gonna leave? Are you gonna have a grand exit? And if they go, no, don't worry about it, then you're pretty much done for the day. Plus, I was hourly, so they would book us based on packages. It was 4, 6, and 8 hours. 8 hours was like phenomenal because you're just doing the same amount of work as like 6 hours, but you just get 2 extra. Doesn't matter. So I was like, I'm done with the job. This girl's cute. I'm trying to get this.
Here we go.
phone
They're
number right
vibing.
now.
We're back to vibing
Now,
with the blonde bride.
This is pre-Tinder, before people
Nobody had
would just
computers.
Hey,
hook
girl.
up, right, willy-nilly.
She passed
We're
you
like,
a floppy disk. It was like, all my information's on
Here's
this.
everything. I'm like, I don't know. I don't have a
Like
computer that
6
reads
floppy
anymore.
disks.
But this is a horrible story, and I can't. But this is one of those that sticks out in your mind.
Brett
We're
paid a lot of
smoking
money to come
cigarettes,
here.
right? I'm drinking. Mind you, I'm drinking a cup of coffee, a little cup of coffee, having a great time, enjoying myself. Put the coffee down, look away for a second, look at her. I'm about to ask for a phone number, pick up the coffee. Don't realize she's no longer smoking a cigarette. Don't know. It hasn't occurred to me. I'm just in this vibe moment. Start to drink the cup of coffee and think to myself, wow, there's a lot of grounds in this coffee. And then I spit out her cigarette butt. And she goes, oh my God, that was your coffee? And I'm like, how did you not see that I was drinking this fucking coffee the entire time? She put her cigarette out in my coffee. And I was like, I would still have sex. I would still sleep with you. But she was disgusted by me and left.
No. I'm still there.
No, I'm totally fine.
down,
I'm
right?
into it. I'm, this is back in the bigger days when Nick didn't have a lot of options. I was like, I'm charming this girl. She's vibing on me.
The
It didn't
bigger
work.
days.
Well, yeah, I was a bigger boy back
No,
then.
I remember. I've seen
Bigger
the
boy.
documentary.
Bigger boy. You can see it this Friday. Austin, Texas, Spider House. 7:30.
It's too, by the time only the people watching live will see it at the time. It doesn't matter.
There's at least 10 people watching live, and we need those tickets sold.
I guarantee Mark Freeman's not coming to Austin, Texas.
Oh,
to
hey,
see
governor. I cooked the fish and chips from the Cooking with Greggy show.
that. Why would he? We didn't cook that. You filmed the entire. Anyways, Brett.
So,
Brett, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever told you sound like a little bit, every once in a while, you sound like Christopher Walken?
do I?
You have
Hold
a
on.
little bit.
Talk a little.
Hi, how are you? My name is Brett.
Hi. How are you?
Don't hear. Don't
It's
hear.
like this. Hi. How are you?
I don't hear it
I'm
at
from
all.
upstate New York. A little bit. You have a little bit of a New York accent is what I'm getting at. I'm
All
leaning
right.
out of it.
Never noticed it, but
good.
not that I would.
Don't listen. So you're at this precipice of change now in your life.
Yeah, so as I was saying, video production would be ideal. Like you guys said, obviously very competitive and things
You're already
like that.
doing it, right? You said you're
Yeah.
doing YouTube. You're doing
Yeah,
podcasts.
the thing is more just putting more energy into it. Like I've made a couple of videos where it was a big event and I tried to get that energy reaction from it, and I know I was happy with it. Yeah, exactly.
Are
Whatever
you looking to do it for yourself, or do you want to start your own business? Do you want to be like work for an IGN? What's the goal?
It's definitely not start your own business. I'll still do the Twitch streaming and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
One mentality I've had with the Twitch streaming is treat it like a job. I've always tried to put 100% energy into it and things like that, whether, it turns out partnership and expansion and whatever it is, or it's just this hobby of, I get to talk with some friends, play some games and have some fun with it.
Can I take just an aside for 2 seconds?
Yeah, sure.
We started in 2015.
Yep.
Before that, I had partnered up and done the whole Twitch stuff before. I'm rusty now. You say you're an affiliate and you can get subs.
Yes.
What's the difference now between an affiliate and a sub?
So
or,
the partner.
Partner.
So
Probably
it
the split,
was
I would imagine.
a year.
Shut your face. He's talking.
A year ago, they added the affiliate program. Twitch did.
inside of your brain.
It was a much lower bar.
Okay.
Of criteria you needed to meet to be an affiliate. You needed so many unique streams, concurrent viewers, or average viewers maybe. And then might have been just those two. Might have been one other thing. So people can subscribe to the channel just like any partner would.
You get the Amazon Prime. You do all that stuff. Twitch
Exactly.
Prime,
Instead of, I know partners get like numerous emotes that they can have. I can only have one per tier. So if you tier 1 sub, you get an emote. Tier 2, tier 3, things like that. I can accept bits as donations and things like that. My payout cut is different from a partner too. So like if you're a partner, you get a little bit more money
Okay.
and things like that. how they divide it. And then other than that,
that's good enough. I didn't understand. I don't need the nuts and bolts, but I know it's one of those things. It's a dumb question because I'm not dealing with it. But I know there's so many people in our audience that don't even understand what a partnership for Twitch is, let alone affiliate.
Yeah. So I mean, partnership isn't an impossible goal. You have to apply for it when you meet their 3 curriculums. It's once again, or criteria. Once again, so many unique streams.
Yeah.
You need to do so many hours, I think, and then you need an average viewership. That's the one that's holding me down. I think it needs 75 average per month or something like that, and I'm nowhere near close to that mark. But it's
your Twitch again.
Twitch.tv/Enigma9011.
And you stream every day?
Trying to. 5 to 7.
You fucked it up today.
Everybody's going over right now. Like, where the hell is this guy?
No, that's great. But that's my question then. Is like, what does your ideal life look like right now? Are you? I wake up at 8, go to work from 9 to 5, stream from 5 to 6, go do taekwondo, or like what is that mixture? Because this is the thing that I love, like thinking about and just sort of in my own life, right? Like that's one of the things that we're obviously fortunate that I said it before, I'll say it again. Like we're very lucky that we get to do predominantly the stuff that only we want to do. Like I don't really have too many parts of my day that I'm like, oh, fucking dreading today. It's like, oh, I get to hang out with my friends, stream. Like every morning, I'm like, oh, I have to go to work. I'm like, no, I get to go to work. I get to go do the morning show with Tim. We get to talk about the poop patrol and screw with the chat and time out Ignacio Rojas all the time.
He deserves it. He's earned it.
And then it's like, oh, I have to go to comedy or jiu-jitsu tonight. No, not really. I don't have to. I do either of those things. I get to. So my question is, long story short, enough about me. What is your ideal life? What does it look like right now? Have you thought about this?
I have.
Because I feel like it's important to have that as a sort of like, to visualize that.
For sure.
Because I think visualization is the first step to making something
clear.
reality.
That is you know where to head for. Yeah. So with the streams, just out of the past couple of years of scheduling, I've been up later. I'll usually do 11 p.m. Eastern to about 2 a.m. or so.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm more of a night owl. So ideally, if I could sleep in, cool. And then go to whatever day job it might be. Obviously, if it is video production, that would be ideal. But I think mainly at this point, it's a change of pace. I will do something different because this was the only job I ever had was taekwondo. So I don't know how it is to work service, to work this, to work whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Not a loaded question. Did you go to college?
Yes.
Okay. What'd you go for?
I went for 3D game design and animation.
Okay.
And that's another facet that I would like to get back into because I haven't done that for years. But
you have a degree?
Yes. Yeah. Associates.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I went for that.
That's a good start.
So ideally, I mean, obviously I can change my sleep schedule and stuff like that.
You might have to budge on the sleeping end, but maybe not.
Never say never.
But that's the thing about video production is you might like that was my thing. That's why one of the reasons why I really was drawn to like wedding photography and videography was that obviously it happened on the weekends. You would get maybe the off Monday or Thursday wedding that would happen, but most of those are at
Monday
night.
weddings.
So every once in a while.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Come on now.
Well, a lot of second weddings happen on a Monday. Let's put it that way. What's up, Matt?
Jesus. Midlife ballers, everybody.
He's gonna text me on that one. No, but I mean, like, people get married on the off days because they don't want to spend a ton of money on that on that wedding. So yeah, but long story short is it was the weekends. So what I would do is shoot stuff from, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday. And then I'd go pick up edits, and I could edit whenever the fuck I wanted.
Right.
So inevitably, my lazy ass wouldn't start editing until 6 p.m. Because I would fuck around with my friends all day, go to Del Taco, go to the Green Burrito, smoke cigarettes.
All they do is eat at taco places.
I think back to that time in my life, which by the way was a great time. Like when you're right out of college, and like it's a time full of a lot of angst because you're trying to figure out how to get something started for the next like portion of your life. But it's also just like a chill time. Like, what the fuck? Like, we used to go.
Oh, my God.
When we had nothing to do, we would go in Newport Beach. There's a place called Cafe. I forget what it was called, but it was an all night. It was up until like 4 a.m. Cafe. We would just sit outside and play dominoes and smoke cigarettes till like 2 a.m.
Don't even get me started on looking now as an adult, fucking every moment booked on a Google Calendar. Like, I think back to college when it was like, I got one class at 11 and then I'm going to come home and, I don't know. See where the world takes me today.
I mean, this is also pre-social media, pre-YouTube, pre-everything. So like, any movies to see? Nope. Well, let's go smoke cigarettes and talk. That's all we got. That's all we could do. But I love it. I love that time. But yeah, so I picked that as a hobby, or not a hobby, but as to try to make a living out of, because that it did fit my lifestyle.
Right.
But at a certain point, you get the 9 to 5. They're gonna probably want you to be there.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Again, IGN was always like, try and be in by 10.
IGN was not a 9 to 5. It was
more
10 to
10 to 5:30, 10 to 6.
Yeah, 10 to 6. But every once in a
It
while.
was a 10 to when is the boss gone? All right, let's go. And then soon enough, you became the boss, and you're like, it's all right, we gotta go.
It's a 10 to.
But then also
11.
punctuated by the E3s, where it was you get your ass in there at fucking 8 a.m, and you're not done working until you're done working. Which my first E3 was 3 days later. I remember sleeping in the hallway of the LA Convention Center on some chairs that were back there, and having a security guard wake me up, and be like, you can't sleep here. And I'm like, but I have to sleep somewhere, because if I go back in that room, my boss will make me work more, and I'm pretty sure it's super illegal. Thanks, Pear. JK, it was Fran.
Fucking Fran.
So I guess
So have you identified any places that you might potentially want to work?
No. So another delve into my life. So I left in July. August has been
August. See, it's right there.
August.
It's fine. My favorite month.
has been a treating myself month and traveling.
Treat yourself.
Good for you.
Yeah. So I first went out to Colorado to visit some other kind of funny best friends. Shout out to Super Killer Bunny and Lady Killer Bunny. Stayed with them for about a week. Hung out with them. And then I
Super
came...
Killer Bunny and Lake Killer Bunny?
Lady Killer Bunny.
Lady Killer Bunny. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they're together?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, it's coincidence.
They're really coincidental.
So I flew back for a day in New York, and then immediately took off the next day and drove down to North Carolina to visit some family. I have family throughout North Carolina, so it was like 2 days with this aunt and uncle, 2 days with these cousins, 2 days here.
Yeah.
Drove back up, was home for 3 days, and flew out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I've been bouncing around all August. So when I get home tomorrow or Thursday, that'll be the start of
Focus
looking.
time.
Exactly.
Great.
Of looking for things. There's video game companies out in New York, upstate area. We're kind of getting a few more, but I'm definitely open to moving again. North Carolina with family there.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of the devs now have in-house video production teams because they're realizing it's a lot cheaper to do that than to have to like farm that work out for considerable markup. So yeah, if you
tomorrow, tomorrow we have a developer coming here to see how we have everything set up and to ask Kevin a bunch of questions because they're like, we need to do this in-house and we just don't know how to do it.
it's tough, and so it's interesting. You know, it's one of those. Well, a lot of people have this idea of what you're going to do in video production, and every major company has some level of video production now because you can't not have the means to supply content to a YouTube channel or Twitter or Facebook. You have to have that, even if you're just Kellogg's or a company that you might not associate with production. They still need stuff done, and they don't want to pay the bigger companies out there like hundreds of thousands of dollars to do a video that they could pay you a decent salary to do and more. So.
Yeah, it's crazy how quickly things are evolving in terms of what job titles used to be even like 5 years ago, 3 years ago, where like, for example, social media manager. Like 3 years ago, that meant, they run Instagram and Twitter and, kind of look over the forums or whatever the fuck based on the website. Now, social media manager is essentially the person that manages a community manager, which is the person that's like in there, like making sure that everything's fine. Then there's also the social media content producer.
Yeah.
Social media producer, because it's like making content for social media is different than just being social media. And then there's the people that ideally go in and are engaging and actually leaving comments on videos or responding to like the more customer service side of it. And it's weird that it falls into customer service, content production, and community building and engagement. And those are three very different skill sets that would have been just bundled up into one piece before. But now it's not just, I guess the point I'm making is if you want to do video, it's not just the video team. There's other options now to have your skill set be laser focused on.
Yeah, and that's a shift, obviously, right? The paradigm shift of like what social media means to companies and to the world. But I remember a time when like the social media was, I don't want to say it was an afterthought for IGN, but it was definitely not.
It totally was.
Yeah,
if that even. It was totally something we should do.
Yeah, we should totally
do
tweet
you
it.
remember
There was like one dude doing all of it at one point.
I mean, you this is when there was a clear wall between editorial and video, obviously, but there was a time where the person who ran IGN's Twitter was everyone on IGN. When you published an article, I was supposed to go to Twitter and post it myself. Meaning that I'm posting and Damon's posting and all. It's just like a feed
crazy.
of content, which is not bad, but it's also not what Twitter is.
focused.
Twitter needs a voice and needs a person. And like, was anyone responding to ads? I don't think so at the time. Like, that wasn't what it was about. There was no way to do it.
But it's crazy to think how the importance of social media as not only like a promotional tool, but a tool for content like generation and deployment, right? Of like delivery rather. And so it's interesting because I don't, Tim keeps up a lot more and Greg keeps up a lot more with IGN than I do. But just having seen their social team go from that, like from Twitter just coming on the scene to now being a legitimate like stratified team is really, really cool. And it just makes you rethink like the more things move and evolve, the more opportunities there are for people out there that understand how to utilize these tools. And so like Tim's spot fucking on where like my mind doesn't immediately go to like, oh, I would look in the social media aspect of like stuff if I needed another job, but it's absolutely the place to go if you want to produce video at the moment. Or if they go, hey, you can absolutely come here and produce, if you were fortunate enough to get on a video team at IGN, absolutely. I'm not saying don't do that.
Well, especially if you can jump on a social team and they are still not in the dark ages like IGN used to be, but like they don't have expectations for it. Like, all right, cool. This is a spot we don't really know. Pitch to somebody why they need a social media team and go in and make cool shit. And that can go one of two ways. I mean, of course, and IGN's amazing. We love IGN, don't get me wrong. But like when Bromley ran social media at IGN, he was so far ahead of his time. He was doing shit on there and Facebook only videos and all this crap that was awesome and amazing, but IGN, I don't think understood. And exactly, and it wasn't gaining the steam it needed, blah, blah. And it's like, you see how Bromley took that and obviously those skills he already had from current TV and all these different things and the comedy button and all these other things. But eventually, now he's writing the Star Wars show. We're like, you know what I mean? Like
Emmy award-winning Star Wars show.
Emmy award-winning Star Wars shows. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it can happen and work for you.
Something that blew my mind, tangentially related.
Missy Elliott.
She did.
Continues
to. I just got notified on Twitter. I've been on it for 10 years.
No shit.
Yeah?
10 years on Twitter.
10 fucking years.
I thought Twitter was the dumbest fucking thing. And then IGN started forcing us to use it as at IGN. I was like, whatever. And then when they were like, all right, cool, we're actually hiring a person. You don't have to post anymore for it. I was like, shit, I kind of miss it. And that's when I made my own.
Yeah. I don't think I got on Twitter until Tim made me get on Twitter. And there was a moment where Tim was like, I remember I was signing up trying to figure out how to get my name on Twitter when we were still sitting on the second floor, and I used to sit over by Bernard.
Third floor.
No, we were on the second floor for a while, weren't we?
Third.
We took up 2 floors for a while.
We were on 3 and 4,
okay,
and
so
then the podcast room was on 2. So it's possible you're on the podcast room.
No. Yeah, I was on. We were on 3. It was the low ceiling floor, whatever that was. And I remember sitting there going like, I don't understand, Tim. Why can't I get at Nick Scarpino? And Tim was like, there's another Nick Scarpino.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, there's not. There's not another Nick Scarpino. And then finally I was like, well, Tim, I need a bet. And Tim got so tired of listening to me. He was just like, I'm going to walk away now. You just have to rectify the fact that you're going to have to put something else in your name.
Dude.
And that's how I got stuck forever with this fucking underscore.
But thank God Nick Scarpino, the real Nick Scarpino, works at Portillo's and now everything's great.
That's fair. And then Tyler Coe from Rooster Teeth came on my show, and he has not 1 but 2 underscores, and that made me feel better. It did.
Yeah.
It's
but people
Tyler
use that now.
Coe.
That's the same thing with the XX before your name and XX after your name.
All cool looking.
You know what I mean?
I got my Twitter account 10 years ago when YouTube was doing YouTube Live, which was essentially Kind of Funny Live, where YouTube decided to do a live show in a building. It was at Fort Mason.
They hired Harley for that?
Yeah, Harley was a part of it.
Yeah.
Bo Burnham was a part of it.
Yeah.
It was like, imagine 10 years ago, YouTube, like anybody that was relevant then.
Fucking keyboard
actually,
cat.
no, Harley wasn't part of it.
Oh, no, I'm thinking Harley was a part of that Super Bowl thing.
Because
remember how Harley did the Super Bowl party or whatever it was? The Super Bowl.
Yeah, the thing we made a Super Bowl video for.
That's what I was thinking.
Whatever the fuck. But anyways, the YouTube Live, it's so crazy to think 10 years ago, YouTube Live, it was as big as Kind of Funny Live 1.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. It was a tiny fucking little thing. And they did a huge live stream and like no one really paid attention, but they got a bunch of people involved. The little dramatic prairie dog, he was there.
Oh, wow.
They had the actual prairie dog. They went to the prairie and found him.
Freddie Wong was part of it. But anyway, there was a thing where it's like, you can interact with the people. So I'm like, I'm going to make this fucking Twitter, whatever the hell it is. And I got to talk to Bo Burnham that day.
That's
on
awesome.
Twitter.
You're like, you should make a movie about school. Anyway, see you later. I'm Tim Gettys. And you skateboarded away.
Hey, man, I'm in 8th grade. You should make a movie about 8th grade one day. You gave him the idea for it.
You need to watch 8th grade, Nick.
I'm going to.
You still watch 8th grade?
I was going to go see it this weekend, but we did the thing where we were like I was like, I don't want to go. And then, do we want to see the movie? Nah, we don't want to see the movie.
Have you seen it?
I have not, no.
As a content creator, it's very stressful.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is very stressful. As a human being.
It's
who's been in 8th grade, begging for the approval of others.
I heard an interview with John Cho about searching, That new one where it's like all screens, and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
I
watching
did
that
not
on
want to see
Thursday.
this. Now I want to see it. I heard an
Dude,
interview with
supposedly
him.
it's amazing.
Supposed to be really good.
It's like getting 9.5s from everywhere.
Is it Cho or Chow? I think it's Cho, right? CHO? John Cho?
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays Sulu.
Harold.
Oh.
Harold from Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, okay, now I know who you're
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Excited about
What's
that.
Searching? I don't know. I don't know.
It is a movie where a guy's daughter goes missing, and it's all told
Taken. You think
through.
of Taken.
That's very similar, but
It's
instead
told
of
through screens.
instead of going around and kicking the shit out of people, he's just in front of a screen the entire time. So it's very similar.
So it's told
Tim,
through
explain.
like webcams and like Google searches and like.
So
them
is it
trying
always
to-
that he's talking into the camera, or
Yeah.
it's like him
But
using?
it's not just him. It'll be like
It
the
cuts to
police
like Deborah
investigation
Messing, who is a
and, like-
police officer, and then like it cuts.
Do
to
they
his-
know they're being filmed, or is this like it's a slice of life? I'm looking into their world as they're trying to find this woman.
He's trying to find his daughter by going back into her digital life and figuring out what happened to her. So he's going to her Facebook page. He's going.
So
to
he's not.
emails.
What's up, everybody? I'm looking at my girl.
No,
Okay,
no,
thank
no,
you,
no.
thank you.
He's literally in front of the camera, like, what's going on? Oh, this is an email. Double click, plays a video. We cut into the video. We come out. The a cop calls on whatever he calls the cop
Skype.
via FaceTime or Skype, whatever. That's my understanding of it. I
Cool,
could be
that sounds
completely
cool.
wrong, but it
That's
sounds
what the
fun.
trailer makes
It's
it look
based
like.
off of. It's the same company that
Taken.
did. No, they did a horror movie about the same thing.
Oh,
Unfriended, which
yeah.
actually I guess was supposed to be pretty fun and
It's,
cool.
Unfriended supposedly was decent, and then they made a number 2. But yeah, this one's like the more adult version. The like,
Yeah.
all right, let's make this a real movie,
Yeah.
not just like a
It was-
chintzy horror.
Yeah, I heard an interview on. I listened to the Business, it's KCRW's entertainment podcast, and they interviewed them, and they were like, they talked to John Chow, and he was like, they asked him like, this seemed gimmicky to you. Like, what was your first impression when they said we're going to do this all through screens? And he's like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. And it's like even through, he's like all throughout production. Even I was telling him like, hey man, why don't you just ditch the screen idea and shoot this like a normal movie? But he's like, when I saw the end result, it was really worth
Yeah.
it.
It's like Chronicle.
Does when I'm looking through their screen, is there text coming up in
Yeah.
reverse? So I'm like, I'm trapped in their computer. Like, let me out, let me
You're
out.
basically the man
No.
with two brains. Remember that? Which is like,
No.
I'm a brain stuck in a jar.
No,
Steve
I
Martin
don't.
classic.
Steve Martin. Okay, I thought it was Steve Martin. Yeah, I wasn't sure
Steve
about
Martin
that.
classic.
So Brett,
Yeah, hi.
the precipice of change here. Are you equal parts excited and nervous? Are you all excitement? Are you terrified? Like where are we at with that part of it?
I think it's still equal parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, maybe a little less nerves, but that might be because of the month of traveling and kind
Sure.
of relaxing.
Sure,
and things
sure,
like that.
sure.
Maybe Thursday.
Not having to think about it, yeah.
Maybe Thursday will be a different story, but
But I mean, let me ask you this question.
Sure.
You got parents, right?
Yes.
They're watching right now.
hey,
Are you living with them?
yes,
Okay. Is it terrible?
no,
Then you're fine.
yeah, no,
You see what
I'm
saying?
not like
this.
Yeah. What
this
do
is-
they think about you coming back and living with them?
they're fine.
Oh,
with
your
that.
mom's probably through the moon.
Yeah, they were stoked
Are you
when I
kidding me?
moved.
My mom. I can't tell you how many times when I was looking for jobs in my 20s, and my mom was like, you know, you can always come home. Got the bed ready for you. Got pizza made. They love it. That's what moms are here for.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But all I'm saying is there are obviously I was very fortunate growing up to have parents that were like, you can always come home, and that gave me a lot more confidence to go out and take risks, which is what you got to do when you're in your 20s, man.
Yeah.
When you got no wife, no kids, no mortgage, and you got an education, and you're motivated, fucking travel, do crazy shit, go try to work for people, like do free work if you can, like have fun and just try to follow whatever passions you got out there, because you got plenty of time to do a job you fucking hate. So now why not spend that time looking for a job you love? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when I moved back from California, they were all for it. And yeah, I've been fortunate enough to live with them and get my savings back up to where I want it and more. And obviously able to come on the show and things like that.
I'll tell you one thing right now I miss. Okay. Now you would say, Nick, do you miss your mom's cooking? No, I do, but I'm a little skinnier now because of it. No offense, Ma, if you're watching this, but
Elena's
Pizza. He
pissed
wants
off,
pizza.
throwing the pizza on the ground.
I'm
back
like, how
home.
many pizzas are you gonna make tonight, Mom? Well, it's just you, me, and your father, so we'll be making 6 pizzas. Okay. No, I'll tell you one thing I miss, and when I get it again in my life, I'll consider myself a huge success. Laundry that's in my unit. Laundry where I can just go, I gotta wash my gi. Throw on my gi, and it's done. Don't have to worry about fucking $4 laundry.
As a performer, I appreciate that. You did like a fucking Muppet Monty
I realized it
Python
was
coconut
a
thing.
stupid, boring story halfway through. So I'm like, I'll give him a little.
I like it. I like what you
One of
Pizzazz.
the best things about living in a garage is there is a laundry dryer
Good
that
for
not
you.
only allows me to launder and dry my clothes, but it's always just smells like fresh laundry.
I'm coming over to your
And
house
it's
to do my laundry from
fantastic.
now on
You
because
should.
I'm so tired. Like last night, I got home at 9 and realized I hadn't washed anything. I had all my gis were just sitting in my office, fucking funky as shit and stinking. And I just finished jiu-jitsu, so I'm like, I gotta wash these. I can't leave these over the Austin. My
Yeah.
wife's gonna kill me. threw those in. But there was someone was doing the laundry, so I had to do the thing where you're like,
is it in your building or to go to like a laundromat?
I have to go downstairs. It's in the building, but there's 2 washers for 16 units.
Ew.
So wait, how many? 3? What's 3 times 9 units? Excuse me. Nope, that's not right.
How many floors you got?
4 units per floor, 3 floors, 12 units.
12.
So 2 washers. It's not terrible, but it's to the point where like at 9 o'clock at night, I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to wait for this. And I always feel bad doing the thing where it's like, that's done. Do I take out the wet clothes and put it on the thing? Because all my stuff
you just gotta
usually
breach that, man. You gotta use the post-it notes.
Yeah.
Because like if you, hey, I did this, deal with it. At least
I
there's
give
that
them.
level of
I
conversation.
literally, you know me, I can't break rules. So I set. Here's the thing. I can't break. I can't do it. I have to set an arbitrary rule for myself that I could adhere to, and then once it sets back, I go like, well, I did the thing. So I'll be like, I'm gonna wait 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
And I look at my watch and I wait 5 minutes. I'm like, if they're not here,
Dude, that's fair.
5 minutes is
5
fair.
minutes?
Yeah.
There's no way they're coming in 5 minutes.
Well,
Set your fucking
has that-
alarm.
have
It's
they
in
ever
your
done-
building.
No, I understand that, but they're not coming in.
But
like that-
my theory is, it's been at least 10 minutes since this thing went off. So if I give them another 5 minutes, that's 15 minutes. Theoretically speaking, 15 minutes is enough time. Like, you should have set a fucking alarm to come down and get your clothes.
That's
if you're
totally
up there
fair.
fucking around cooking, taking care of your babies, whatever,
Fucking
cleaning their
babies.
asses and shit,
Stupid-ass
it's
babies.
not my fault that your laundry is going to get mildewy. So I'm taking it out, putting it on the dryer. That's
I
what's
live in
gonna
a
happen.
house, the whole house. 6 women, 1 dude. I'm the dude.
You're the dude.
I'm the dude.
Yeah.
Do you know how many fucking black lacy underwear gets stuck in the fucking washing
Dryer.
machine
If
dryer?
If I had to guess, all of it.
I don't understand how there's so much because it's so small.
Tiny.
It's like the tiniest little fucking thing, and it's every single time I take out a load of laundry, there's
One
fucking
thing.
black.
Yeah,
like
what you
somebody's
gotta
black
do-
underwear, and I'm just like, how is like? Do you guys not have underwear? Like, I just don't understand how much of this exists.
They don't do the turn. You got to do the turn.
I always do the
Oh,
turn.
spin. Do
You
the
gotta do the
spin.
spin.
Maybe that's my
No, that
downfall.
was
I
when,
shouldn't do the turn.
when I was living in South San
Get
Francisco.
poured on with this fucking lacy shit.
When I
get
was in
buried
South
by
San
lacy
Francisco,
panties.
I used to use laundromat across from the house I was living in or whatever, and I went over there one day and was doing laundry, and I took over the washer of this girl who had gone over there and done and it was like my load finished, hers was getting out of the dryer, and I opened it up, and sure enough, sitting there on the thing was this red thong, and it's like that awkward like, shit, fuck what I did, and I walked
don't
over
wanna
there, I'm like,
touch it.
hey, I think your underwear, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. She came over, she goes, no, those aren't mine, and I was like, all right, random ass fucking thong on this thing. Great. Fucking public goddamn laundromats. No, thank you. Never again.
Yeah.
Never again.
No, I'm not.
I got it
into
in unit. It's amazing.
It's You're so lucky. I'm
great
jealous.
place.
I'm
Yeah.
jealous that I saw your place and I was like, you have to get it for the in laundry. And it's so funny because there are probably people listening to this podcast or going to listen to this podcast that live in other parts of the world that are like,
What are you talking about?
I had that when I was 22.
100%.
Like I moved into an
kidding me?
apartment when I was 22 and I had that shit.
When I in the Antler house, we had a washer and dryer that they had all bought years ago. And when I left, I bought out the other guy and moved it to my first apartment and then to my second apartment. And then when I moved to California, I was like, I
It's
sold
so
it. got it.
necessary, man. It's just like one of life's little luxuries.
But you just don't realize, like, until I moved
Oh,
here,
sure, no way.
I didn't realize it. Like, we had a washer and dryer in every place until I moved into San Francisco. And then I was kind of fortunate to, when I moved to my first place up in Nob Hill, or Tender Knob rather, there was a laundromat right underneath my apartment. It was like a block, like half a block over. And so I could just carry my shit over there. But even that's a pain
Even
in the
then,
ass.
no, that was
pain in the ass,
that was the same thing in the old place, the old studio or whatever, where the laundromat was just around the corner. It wasn't far, but I hate that chore
the
so much.
transportation of it. Like I remember growing up, there was a large chunk of time where we didn't have either a washing machine or a dryer. So me and my brother would have to do my mom's laundry, my dad's laundry, and our laundry, and we would just put these fucking giant hampers on skateboards.
Yep.
And it was like 6 blocks away, up hills. And we would just fucking get it up there. It was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Like every
I don't
other
like.
weekend.
And then
whatever.
you also have the I always kept having flashes of Fight Club when Helen Bonham Carter would be like, what? She walks into the laundromat, opens up a dryer, takes clothes out, puts it on, and just walks out. And he's like, what about the rest of your load? She's like, it's not mine. Like, people could just jack shit.
It's happened.
Sure.
So I'd always have to
Yeah.
like check periodically, let people know, like, for the elusive person who may or may not be watching me, that I'm on
on
the
it.
schedule,
That's
man.
my
I might
shit.
come back at any time.
You're not getting this Coke shirt.
You're not getting I look like a Coke endorsement, right? By the way.
Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say that, but I feel like the Coke shirt used to be a staple.
This is a new one.
Yeah.
I know. I'm saying it used to be like 2 times a week, and then it went away for a long time, and here it is.
It's on its way out. The wife has already started asking about the kind of grunginess in the pits. She's like, we got like
me
maybe
see.
2 more months.
Get some tip
Oh yeah, it's getting that
starting to get
gray,
a
that
little-
white. Yeah,
It's bad. You know it's got to go when there's a part in there that's just caked on. It doesn't move. You ever get your shirts to that point?
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's bad. You got to just throw them out at that
I hear
point.
you. I hear you. I hear
But
you.
she was also like, you got to have maybe. It's gotten to the point now with all my kind of funny shirts that I need to now get new ones up.
I need to too.
because my bridge shirt's just gone. It's
my
like
Mega
disintegrated.
64 shirt. I don't want to see it go because I
a good shirt.
don't think they make it anymore.
Which one?
The one that
It's
looks
San
like
Diego,
80s.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it's like
yeah,
the
that's hot.
palm
That's
trees.
hot. That's hot.
It's so cracked.
it's a dope shirt.
And like
though.
for a while, it was like, oh, it looks like it's supposed to be cracked. Now it's like, no.
Yeah,
Now
like
it's
an
really
old
just
ass
cracked
cracked
shirt.
an
shit.
old shirt.
Yeah,
Just
now it's
bad news
ruined.
bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have too many T-shirts as well. I have hundreds of T-shirts.
I've
and I have
seen
there's the
both
A
your
team, and
closets.
then you go there's like there's the top quarter. That's great, and then you get into stuff where it's like, well, this is an XFL shirt that I only wear once in a while, but I
I ain't
need it.
getting rid of
I
it.
need it.
To be fair,
Yeah.
most of your comedic beats rely on your
I know.
wardrobe.
I know.
You're very much
It's
a prop
true.
comic.
Thank you very
Very
much.
much a
Thank
prop
you. I
comic.
appreciate that.
Like
Me and
today, you
Carrot
walked
Top.
in with the gun.
Yeah,
and
that
you didn't
wasn't
do
meant to
anything
be
with it.
anything. You
You
just
didn't do
called me
anything to
in.
it.
You made me perform, and guess what? It became a thing.
Somehow
The
you
demon.
went from
Yep.
walking
The
in with
demon.
the gun to the I unleash the demon.
The demon.
He has like such a soft breath, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I like that you said it was
silk.
soft,
It's like
yeah.
silk on your neck. You're like, ooh.
Brett, we wish you well on this journey.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're feeling pretty good right now. We'll see Thursday how you're feeling.
Yep. I'll tweet at all of you. I'm in panic.
This was a huge mistake. I've
God.
made a huge mistake. Before we move on, I want to talk about our sponsor, Blue Apron. If you didn't know, Blue Apron's amazing. How would you know that? Because I talk about Blue Apron quite a bit. Used it for a long time when my mom sent it to me. Then, of course, I've been using it recently thanks to the power of Kinda Funny and talking to you about all the cool things we're making. And then, of course, they put out a cookbook that cool Greg slacked me because he knows how much I like Blue Apron that I bought that I use all the time, and it's great. But let's talk about Blue Apron. If you didn't know what it is, they send you instructions step by step with pre-portioned ingredients fresh to you. You choose the meals, you choose the delivery, you choose how many things you want, how many people are eating it. They send it to you and you get to cook delicious meals and figure out how to do it. Now is the time to get in. Of course, these are chef designed recipes. You can cook incredible meals in as few as 20 minutes. That's right, dinner in less than 20 minutes. Why wouldn't you want to do it? It's why Jen and I loved using it for so long, is the fact that it takes the guesswork out of it. You pick ahead, it's there when you get there, you just go, you do it, you're done, right to the video games, right to tickle and Porty.
Tickle that
I
little
love to tickle my wiener
dog.
dog. Thank you very much. So check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free at blueapron.com/Greggy. That's blueapron.com/Greggy to get your first 3 meals free, like crispy chicken tenders and mashed potatoes or pasta and creamy tomato sauce. And I assure you, these meals are good.
Yeah.
I guarantee
They
it.
look good. I'm looking at a picture of him right now. It looks fantastic.
Blueapron.com/Greggy, your first 3 meals free.
Can I say it?
Yeah, sure.
Blue Apron. Better way to cook.
Why don't you use Blue Apron? You know what I mean? Just saying. You should be using it too.
Yeah.
Gia, I
Yeah.
bet Gia would like.
Gia would love it
you
too.
get
loves
for-
Blue Apron.
Here's what you
Gia
get
would
it for
love.
Gia.
Why don't you cook for Gia more? Is what we're getting at.
Tim
Why
doesn't
don't you
cook.
take better care of this woman that loves you so
No,
much?
That's effort. Tim is streamlined. Do you understand?
That's
that?
what Blue Apron's
But
all
that's
about.
what he's
the
got
ad is
Gia
over.
for.
Now we are just trying to fix this relationship.
deal. Do you
Wake up
understand?
before noon.
This is the
He has
topic.
Gia because Gia will,
I do
will
wake
get
up
Blue
before
Apron. Gia will cook for him. Tim doesn't care.
We got kegs again, everybody.
Hey.
Yay!
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Sorry. Take it all. Just give him whatever he wants.
Sir, I'm a 40-year-old man. Give us the beer. Give us the beer.
me a keg of beer.
I like a keg of beer.
Teen Wolf. We're doing
Dude,
Teen Wolf impressions.
It's on Amazon Prime. Let's watch it together
Dude,
later
Teen
tonight.
Wolf's so fucking good. Teen Wolf 2, an abomination.
Oh, God.
Do not watch Teen Wolf 2.
Dude,
I'll
Jason
put that out there.
Bateman's
haven't
worst
seen it.
work ever.
My topic.
Is Teen
Yeah.
Wolf 2 like midlife crisis wolf?
No,
Adult
it's,
No, it's Jason
just out of
Bateman.
college
And
wolf?
then there's like a
College
musical
wrestling.
number, but Chubby is there too, and the dad is still there. Yeah, you remember Chubby from Teen Wolf 1.
Never saw Teen
On
Wolf.
the, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What's the topic?
It's based on his cousin.
It's his cousin,
Jesus.
who
Yeah, big
also
one cousin.
has wolf-like powers.
Yeah.
Why not, dude?
I forget.
I think Boof is in it, too.
I was
isn't
going to say
she?
Boof does make an appearance in Teen Wolf
Boof,
too,
what a
right?
great fucking name,
Chubby
man.
and Boof.
Yeah, Chubby and
Boof was
Boof.
cute,
Wow.
man.
Real
Why-
thing.
oh, Boof was
Boof
cute.
was the girl he
right?
winds up with at the end. He leaves the blonde and winds up with Boof, who's like his best friend. She's super cute, and really nice.
Boof is a girl.
Yeah, Boof is a girl.
Oh, Boof's is like,
Okay.
it's his,
like childhood friend.
Exactly,
Slash
who then
childhood
turns-
sweetheart.
yeah, exactly,
She was super
exactly.
cute. But yeah, I think she's in Teen Wolf too. What happens is we go to college. It's college, not high school anymore. Fuck you, right? We don't need high school. it's wrestling team, and it's Jason Bateman, and he finds out he's got the wolf. He calls his uncle, who I guess is his only living relative was Michael J. Fox's dad. I could be remembering this.
You're nailing it.
And he's like, but there's also another overbearing principal that I think is a dickhead too, or
oh sure, everybody hates the werewolves if you're a principal.
They always do, but he ends up wrestling and fucking people up. Now a lot of people say, hey, that might be an unfair advantage, similar to abusing steroids, and I guess there's somehow he was still able to wrestle.
Here's what I'd like to say: that's discrimination. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, guess what? If you have more testosterone than me, guess what? That's just the way it's got to be.
I for sure have more testosterone. I'm just joking.
I guarantee you do too. I've seen
You're
you.
a big boy. You got strength.
No.
And hairiness.
No, that's some of that's true, but you're hairier than me. You know what I mean?
I am hairier than you. I got the fucking. Yeah. Let's watch Teen Wolf tonight.
I'm down, man.
Cool.
Let's just fucking do Teen Wolf.
I'll let you know when I put it on tonight. Probably like 9 o'clock. While you're right in the middle of you platinuming some game.
That's true. I'm trying to platinum Donut County, but we might play fucking Fire Team. It's all on. Anyways, my topic, unless you want to do one of the other topics.
It's your time for what?
My topic is, do you, the three of you, always think you'll live in America?
100%.
Yeah?
Not a chance in hell.
Brett. And I mean full time. I'm not talking about visiting. I mean like leave the country. You're gonna go
most
be an expat.
likely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't really thought about it too much, but
Yeah.
most likely.
Mr.
Could
Nick.
Taekwondo take you somewhere else?
Yeah. Korea.
Right.
Where it's from.
I mean, ideally, it could probably take me anywhere. There's schools everywhere now, but yeah.
Yeah, that happens in jiu-jitsu as well. We just had a guest instructor from the Dominican Republic. So it's like, it takes you all over the place. If you're good at something, it can take you. I don't see myself ever permanently leaving the States.
Right.
I do wish that I had a portion of my life where I spent some time living in a different country. Like I would have loved to, like I go to London, and my wife lived in London for a while, and she lived in Vienna for a while, and that experience I think is very, very important. And I always, as a person who wanted to pursue film, I always thought, how cool would it be if like base camp was the United States, but you got to go shoot a Bond movie over at Pinewood Studios for you're prepping it for a year or whatever. You get to live in London with your family. So I always thought there was a certain romanticism to that, but I would never think about like leaving and trying to become a citizen of another country, or renouncing my citizenship to the States, because I just think there are a lot of benefits to being a United States citizen, and obviously this is my country and this is where I was born. But I think it'd be cool to have like some level of dual citizenshipness, because then that just clearly makes you twice as better as everyone else.
100%. You get a hold over their heads, of course. That's what
you only got one citizenship. Fucking underachiever.
You understand? I can go wherever I want in these two countries.
Like, do you have a friend,
exactly. In these two.
Do you ever have a friend that like double majored and you're like, you fucking show off?
Yeah, exactly.
Show up. I majored in physics and doctor stuff.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Is that what Kevin did?
I don't know. I just know if he's paying attention.
I didn't finish.
No, he quit to go work at IGN.
It was math and biology.
Math and biology.
That's what it was.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm in a weird spot, Of course, falling in love with one Genevieve St. Ange in the way that I would have been before meeting her and falling in love. That I would never leave the United States. You know what I mean? Like, are you kidding me? Of course, I've always been very proud to be American and love this country and all that stuff. But obviously, falling in love with Jen, telling Tim the day before my first date with Jen that I was going to marry Jen, like it was very much a thing of like, well, what's the quickest way to us being together? Like, we're going to be together, so how do you make that happen? How do you make it work? You know what I mean? And so it was, okay, well, obviously, we have this business, we're doing that. It makes sense for her to come here. Obviously, video games are a huge part in America right now, and like our industry is very, I would say, North American centric, if not US centric, right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Quebec is doing all sorts of fucking crazy things. They're giving away so much money. Of course, yes, I'm talking about the continent. But yeah, Japan, obviously. And Europe is doing a whole bunch of amazing things too. But bringing her into my life has been interesting in the way that I was very much like, of course, you're going to come here and love America. And you'll love America like we all love America. And it's not that Jen doesn't love America, but she loves Canada like I love America in terms of being raised there. And this is now me talking and not her and not you and not most of us. Personally, America's fucking down right now. I don't think we're in a great spot. You know what I mean? And to bring her in at that point, my wife signed up to move to my country at what I can, and this is me personally, I'm not trying to put anybody down, what I consider the lowest point in our country that I've been alive for is fucked up. And then to have her lens for it. We are recording this the Tuesday after the Madden shooting on Sunday in Jacksonville, Florida, right? And for when she first came here and the first mass shooting happened, and the conversation with her that like, well, this is just crazy. Like, this never happens in Canada. And of course, that's an exaggeration. There are shootings in Canada. I'm not trying to say that, but not like there are here. And then the second time it happened, and then the third time it happened, and then the continuation of it continuing to happen, and the fact that their children there don't go to school and are afraid to be shot, and they don't get run through drills of what a Schedule E is, which is what I had in high school, which to me, this is what I'm talking about, in the fact that this whole thing is not me demonizing doing anything, just the bucket of cold water it's been in my face to have someone, the person I'm closest to in my life, that I sit there and since Columbine have understood Schedule E. Okay, we're doing a drill today. Everybody get away from the windows, back up against the wall. We're going to lock the doors. This is how you play like you're not there. Geez, 8th grade maybe that was, you know what I mean? It was in the early 90s, 94, maybe it was 7th or 6th. Doesn't matter for what I'm saying, but I'm saying that that's been my entire, coming of age thing where guess what? That's normal. That's just how you do it, and that's what happens, and that's how it's going to be.
Isn't that just because of where you're from, though? Because I feel like...
Did you not do Schedule E's? Did you not do school shooting drills?
No, we did
didn't do
earthquake
those.
drills.
Sure.
I feel like that's my thing.
We did tornado drills. Yeah,
I feel like those type of things are really dependent on your area and specifically what you do. We never did that, and it's not like those things weren't happening when I was going to school.
Interesting.
If not more.
No, that's an awesome take on it. Yeah, that's interesting because, I thought that would be happening everywhere. Maybe, and I guess that is the problem of... How do you deal with this? There is no, you know what I mean? This is a conversation we had on Games Daily about the Jacksonville shooting, right? Of yes, I know of people who I've talked to, just like, man, it was weird that, and this is your first knee-jerk reaction in the moment of weird they shot up a Madden thing, right? Well, it's no, it's weird they shot up a school. It's weird they shot up a hospital. It's weird they shot up a church. You know what I mean? This doesn't happen because of, A doesn't lead to B.
Well, I think a big problem with the Madden thing of it's weird, it's Madden's because, and this is fucked up, but so many people just immediately think it would make sense, quote unquote, for Call of Duty. It's why? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? And that's just the whole narrative of video games are evil and make you want to shoot things. Where it's Madden, it has nothing to do with it being Madden. It has to do with people have deep issues that need to be figured out, and this is the way that they chose to take them out for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thing is. I mean, yes, the country, I'll agree, we're having some issues right now, right? We have probably the most polarizing president we've ever had in the history of our country. I think he's pretty much up there, and at least top 3 of this guy's setting a new bar. But the thing I always kind of come back to is every country has its problems. We have our fair share, and I don't see leaving it as being an option over helping to make a positive change in it. Does that make sense?
100%, because that's what I wrestle with. If I can take the stage for one second, that's what I wrestle with, is the fact that I love America. America is great. I want to make it better. I want to get it on track. I want to solve these problems, but it's what I said on Games Daily on the Monday afterwards of just the problem of mass shootings is so far above and beyond what I know and how I don't know how to wrestle with that. And I don't know what the right move is. And I personally believe, yes, there should be more checks for guns and this and mental health and all. There's a litany of things, but then you talk to somebody and they want to ban all guns, and it's well, that's not, and you're left with there's a problem so big right now that I don't know what the first step to working on that is. And Andrea today on Kind of Funny Games Daily was talking about, it's your politicians and it's your voting and it's this, and it's I so don't believe in the political system as it stands that I don't even know if that would help or fix it, or how do you get to that? I don't. I literally am lost at sea on what to do to make this better. So I'm constantly vacillating between the fact of, no, I want to stay and I'm an American and I want to fight and I want to make it better and I want to do this. And then the woman next to me being holy shit, I just got charged how much to go to the doctor? That doesn't happen where I am. That's not how this works. There's another there's another mass shooting. That doesn't happen where I'm from. Are
people going to school? Are people scared to go to school for shooting? I feel that there's a disconnect there where there's a exaggeration and hyperbole of the fear of it, where it's from my opinion, from knowing a lot of people from around the country, it's more of a, until it happens to you or happens to someone you know or happens around that, it's not an issue. It's not something you even think about until these mass shootings happen.
Well, see, here's the thing. I think as a student, you're 100% right. I remember doing Schedule E drills and being this is never going to happen here. What the fuck are we going to blah, blah, blah. I think it's the parents' problem. And that's what I'm seeing is our generation has come of, or my generation, Nick and I's generation, has come of age and started having kids. Last year was the weird one of parents putting on Twitter, but I don't use Facebook, I assume Facebook, the photos of their kids. Hey, this is what happens if you hear gunshots. And hey, the stories, like, you know how I do, like, Jen says this and I said that, and then, of like the kid coming home and talking about the drill they ran today and why would people shoot up our school and stuff like that, of like, oh, fuck, right, yeah. With me and Jen wanting to have children, with me suddenly thinking about what it's going to be like to be a father and see, like, through a lens of, like, what it's like to try to protect your child. That's where it gets weird of, like, man, of, like, sending them off to a school where they aren't, I don't think, and I can't speak for every child, but I don't think most children are going to school worried about getting shot. You know what I mean? But it's the same way I don't worry when I cross the street about getting run over. I don't worry about being on an airplane and crashing.
Definitely. And I think that has a lot to do with it where, you know, kids don't know any better. The kids know what they're told and know what they're taught. So because of that, I expected earthquakes to happen every other week because I was taught to be afraid of them. I was taught to, like, learn how to protect myself against them, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it is this thing of, like, when you teach the kids, like, oh, this is what happens when a shooter comes, you're kind of preparing for a shooter to come, right? And it's like I've seen, like, that type of thing. Like, back, there was a lot of kidnappings in the 90s, right? Like Amber Alert and all that stuff.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So it's like kidnapping was a real fear for me. And, like, my mom freaked the fuck out about that stuff. And I wonder if that is still a common...
I'm sure it's still a concern.
I'm sure it is, but it's just like...
It's easier to... I think there's a lot more resources now for kidnapping victims, though, because you have... I mean, I forget... I might be making this up, or I might have heard this wrong, but I think, like, people are easier to find now because of social media, because of the rapidity with which social media has.
Kevin's got
What's
something
that,
to say.
Kev?
I think it's because when we grew up, they implemented the Amber Alert.
Well,
Yeah,
the Amber
that
Alert
was
was because
something-
of that, yeah. But
Right.
I'm saying...
Well, no, what I'm saying is they invented a system that now everyone would be notified when a child went missing.
Yeah.
Which for us brought that more into the news. Suddenly we were seeing on the news, hey, this person's missing, and it was a topic of conversation. And because so many people were aware, hey, this car with this license plate is being looked for, people called in and reported, oh, hey, I'm seeing this car. So I think that for me and Tim, kidnappings seem more relevant because they were in the news.
It seemed like common.
But I
Yes.
mean, that's the thing is, like, you know, you're talking about kids being trained for it or whatever. I mean, that's why it works, right? That's why even at the airports, they still say, if you see something, say something, which of course leads to fucking some people being shitty people and profiling, but also does lead to that guy's acting stupid, you know what I mean? And it's going to be the same thing now at video game tournaments of, like, all right, just keep an eye on people, you know what I mean? In terms of what they're doing and how they're coming in and doing it. It's not bad. It's sad, if that makes sense. Yeah, everyone should be hyper aware of what everybody else is doing because we're all trying to just fucking live our lives and not die. But it sucks that you have to think that. But it's also the same thing of, like, nobody worried about razor blades and fucking apples until some kid one person. Yep. Like, I've read things about that of, like, that was like one crazy ass thing. Kevin Coelho from KindaFunny.com.
I just wanted to say, I don't think that my little brother is scared of being kidnapped, or he doesn't think that, like, if I think, hey, well, I mean, I don't think growing up he was, like, aware that kidnappings were a thing.
Really?
Yeah, I just think
I feel like stranger danger. Don't talk to strangers. Don't get in a car.
We didn't get that. Yeah,
Like, we got that. We didn't get that.
Yeah.
You don't think he got that?
No, I'm I didn't get stranger danger. That was something like
explains
I used to get a lot of forest fire warnings. As
Oh,
well.
sure. Fucking smoke.
Bring up a
Smokey,
cigar,
fuck
Smokey
off.
the bear.
At least there are problems right now, you
everywhere.
goddamn talking bear.
Gia was
Yeah.
dead, like this is not a joke. She was deadly afraid of being kidnapped. Like,
She's a very small person.
She
Easy to pick up.
expected she was
That's
going to
true,
get kidnapped.
yeah.
Easy to pick
like,
up.
that's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
level of, for our generation in the San Francisco area, where it's like, that and earthquakes.
I just think that things went to an extreme when there was a system implemented, when it was new. Now the Amber Alert is still a thing.
Yeah.
It still helps find kids, but it's normalized.
Sure.
People aren't freaking out about it when they see it on the news. It's just something that happens.
Sure.
So my little brother didn't, like, that wasn't controversial for him. So I think for him, he was just like, oh, there's a system in place.
Joey Noel has arisen from the ashes of her desk. I don't know how to say that. Get on that shock mic, move that PlayStation aim controller, hashtag game provided by PlayStation.
This conversation.
Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry.
Pull it off the thing, too. I hate it when you do this thing where you're, like, leaning, talking. Just hold it.
I
Joe.
know, because then I couldn't, like, see anything
Yeah.
yesterday. I feel like the kidnapping thing was, like, nailed into me as a kid, of, like, my mom
Me
always
too.
being like, you couldn't walk, like I couldn't even like go play outside without her knowing and all that kind of stuff. And she always says that it came back from Poly Class in Petaluma around here. They got kidnapped like right before I was born, and there was like 2 other kids too.
It's scary shit, man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, again, it's not bad. It's sad that you have to be told this, but it's also, you need the survival instincts to, understand it. But it's just the fact of like,
you need to know your environment. Alana Pierce, in response to the Madden thing,
Oh, yeah.
I'm totally paraphrasing this, but said something to the extent of like, I'm from Australia. It's crazy how much Americans talk about how scary our animals are and
bugs and spiders and
insects
shit,
and stuff when we have, this shit going on over
Have
here.
you seen the fucking spiders?
And it's
in
like, I
Australia?
totally agree with the sentiment of what she's saying there. I'm like, in my opinion, ban guns, they don't fucking make sense and whatever. But for what she's saying, it's like, yeah, but in Australia, there are those things and they cause a bunch of deaths all the time. And kids need to be trained to not fucking play with spiders. You know what I mean? It's like there's like depending on the area you're in.
yeah, but I mean, I rolled as hard as I could, right? Because that's such a different thing of like a natural predator, a natural bug being in the versus the gun coming into your school. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah,
I think
totally.
Tim's point is like there are some universal truths of like bad things can't happen no matter where you're at.
Sure,
right?
of
Like,
course, and that's
kidnapping-
and I know.
kidnapping
You
is
need
not
to
an
know.
epidemic thing caused by a social or a political. It's not a political issue necessarily in that there's no law that's been passed that allows kidnappers to have like faster vans.
Yeah.
Like gun control. Gun control.
I'm thinking about kidnapping. Can I get that faster van?
Let me tell you right there.
It's against the law, but here's the
but let
van.
me get that van that with the cool suicide door to the side that I could just grab real fast. No, the gun control issue I think is it's a really complex issue. And it's not one that I think about often because I don't plan to have kids, honestly. But the healthcare issue is something I do think about a lot, and it is something that I think is really, really kind of indicative of where we are at as a country. It's very sad that we don't have some form of universal healthcare. It's very sad that people can go broke because they get sick. That's
the
weird to me.
GoFundMes that go up for everybody who just got sick or got in a car accident.
I don't know how to rectify that, and I'm a pretty.
And I don't know- yeah, I
I'm
don't
pretty
know the solution.
conservative when it comes to a lot of fiscal issues. Very, very liberal when it comes to a lot of social issues. But the idea, like, I don't love the idea of being like, oh, tax me 20% more so we can pay for universal healthcare. But I would actually, the older I get and the more I see my friends having kids and people getting ill, and now I'm starting to see some of my mom's friends, my parents' friends die, things like that. And if a friend of mine passed away, used to GoFundMe, like John Schnepp passed away, they had to GoFundMe to pay for his bills. And I'm like, this doesn't fucking make any sense that they couldn't even save his life, but they still have to pay the thousands of dollars it took to not save his life. Like, there's a disparity there. That doesn't work for me. And so when I do look at Canada and think like, oh, it would be nice to not like, people should not have to worry about getting sick. That should be a universal just truth across the board, right? Whether or not you want to go to college, whether or not you want to do, a trade school, or whether or not you need financial aid for other stuff, that's all open to debate for me. Or like a universal income, things like that people are talking about now. I'm like, I can see the virtues and the drawbacks of that stuff. But the fact of the matter is, like, I can't rectify the fact that as a society we have failed each other so hard, like so badly that you can't. Like, I read an article the other day of a guy that had a heart attack. I think it was in Texas. He was a swim coach, had a heart attack, got a bill for $109,000 from the hospital because they took him to a place that was out of network.
Out of network, yeah.
That is ridiculous. Now, a lot of people are saying they overbilled and yada yada. It's caused this bigger conversation to happen around how hospitals bill and things like that. But it's absurd that because you almost died, you now also have to go broke. That's stupid. That is a fundamental failure, in my opinion, of a society.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as gun control, my thing is, I do think that there should be harsher restrictions on guns. I don't think they're ever going to go away. I just think that's just the reality.
I find
of
it
the United
interesting that
States.
you said, you don't think about it much because you're not having kids or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Do you not think about getting shot at when you go to RTX, when you go to PAX? And I don't mean like that's a real threat. I don't think about it either. PAX West is this weekend. When I walk in the show floor, I'm not thinking, I might get shot right now. But I have had those situations, mainly PAX East, where when they introduce the metal detectors and they snake you back in that line, I have looked around and been like, a lot of humans here right now. And I know I have friends in the video game industry who I haven't been to Gamescom since the last Leipzig. It was like 2008. But who have done the same thing of like, man, huge mass of people before we even get in the doors. Where if you wanted to walk up with we all saw Swordfish. You want to walk up with an IED and a bunch of ball bearings, you're going to fuck up a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And it's that fucking thing of like, bad things can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
bad things seem to happen here a lot lately. You know what I mean? And I'm not at all. I know the London bombings. I know the Middle East. I know. I'm not saying like America's the only people are dying at a lot. It's just that thing of, it's crazy now to have someone here who looks at me and goes, don't you, and this is not me at all demonizing my wife, but I mean, you look at me like, don't you understand this is crazy? Yeah. Like, I've never had to deal with that and be that thing of like, I've always had to deal with this, and I've never thought any way about it. I remember fucking in Missouri when I went to, it was me and my ex, we went to her friend's house who had married this lovely man who was an Iraq vet. And we had a bunch of beers, and we were sitting there talking, the whole group. And he was just like, oh, he's like, I have so many guns. And I was like, can I see them? And he's like, yeah. And we went in there, and he had the fucking gun from Metal Gear with like the Metal Gear Solid, my favorite game or whatever. And why can't I think of the name? SOCOM? Yeah. He had the SOCOM, and he had the attachment. And I was like, holy shit, it's the Metal Gear gun. And I did this, and I turned and looked at my ex, and she was just bawling. I was just like, it's fucked up to see you this excited holding this gun that you really shouldn't have. Laser scope, all this shit. And it was like, oh yeah, and gave it back where it went into his gun chest of a million other guns. And I'm not demonizing guns. I'm not saying, it's just that thing of like, I was like, oh fuck, and I'm wasted holding this gun, whatever, you know what I mean? Back to and it was just
down
like,
the barrel like, are there bullets in this gun?
It's like a Wile E. Coyote cartoon.
Yeah, and that's my thing too, is obviously I've fired guns, and
Me too.
I enjoy the sport of firing guns. I don't think that they're the end all be all of the most evil thing that man's ever made, but I do think they're misused, and I think that they're not regulated nearly enough. And it's one of those things where I am torn on it too, because I have enjoyed interacting with guns in my past.
The amount of when we went back
I think it's fun to go shooting
to Missouri, not this past 4th of July, but the 4th of July before that. I took Jen back to Missouri. We went out into the country. One of our friends was, we went to a family home that I consider my second family, and one of the guys there had a handgun, and he was explaining like he is born and bred Missouri. He is from the middle of America. He has his conceal and carry license. He has it locked up. He has kids. This is where he puts the book. He was like, I am from the middle, and I think that we don't do enough. I've done all of this for my stuff, but there's nothing saying that this other person can't go in and get the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's that thing where I don't like the argument that overall guns out the window, repeal the Second Amendment, we're fucking taking everything down.
Why not?
I think that's a bridge too far. I do think that it's a right that you are. Why not be allowed to defend your home? Why not be allowed to do it?
Why defend? Why need to defend it with a gun?
Because there's bad people.
But use a bat.
What if they have the gun?
Then you're fucked. I mean, if they have a gun and you have a gun, they probably know how to use it better than you do.
I would disagree. I think if you have the gun and you've had the gun, because here, just stick with me. And you're not wrong. I'm not wrong. I don't think there's a wrong answer here because this problem is so fucking complicated.
Personally, I do think
you think guns all out the window.
I think that unless there's a dedicated reason for you to be using a gun, and you are trained and legalized to do that. I've never heard an argument that makes sense. And I feel like to be able to defend your house thing. I think there's so many other ways that you can defend your house.
I don't think you're wrong either. Don't get me wrong. And this is where to have a person with me, I keep pointing at you as if you're Jen.
Hey.
You're not Brett. But to point at somebody who's like, no, that's crazy. I understand that. I for the people like yourself who are just like, no, why have guns at all? I don't have a great answer as we go down to it. I guess for me, it's what I was talking about with Andrea today, is that she was similar about it. Just like, why guns, why value guns over lives, right? I don't know if, again, it's the political system that's fucked me up. If it's being here so long, that's fucked me up. But I think when to say we need to get rid of guns, we will never win that argument. We will never get that side. We are alienated everybody. We have to compromise. And it's something, I feel like a broken goddamn record, because we were talking about this with Kevin and Colin and everybody else before the elections of Trump, right? Of like, we've lost the middle ground now. All it is polarizing opposites.
It always was. I feel like that's the problem.
I feel like we used to be able to come together more. I was a kid, though.
The problem with the arguing for the middle thing, which is like, that's the ideal. That's right. It's like everybody should be able to like have conversations and compromise and whatever. But that isn't the reality. Every single person has their own things that they're looking for and what they're trying to do and accomplish and their beliefs. And I just feel like you need to stand for something and you need to really not waver on what you believe in when it comes to those things. And that is the conversation. I feel like that is when you think about what America is, it's voting. And it's like, guess what? Trump's in the office because he won, because people voted for him. And it's like, we need more people to, if they believe otherwise as hard as they possibly can. because it's not about just like watering everything down and kind of being like, well, guns. I can see where you're coming from. It's like, well, what do you think about guns? If you really don't think they should, anyone should have them, stand by that. Don't be like, well, I guess there's this case and this case, unless you believe in those cases. Because it's like, when it comes to guns for me, where it's like the two arguments I hear that I'm like, okay, I can see where you're coming from is the defending your house, or, oh, I just use it for sport. I just use it for guns.
Sure.
Or for hunting. And it's like,
there's
people that are hunting, like they're hunters, people that are getting food. Mm-hmm. I understand them using guns.
They're not using an AR, whatever the fuck, and
but it's just like for when
if they are, they're shitty hunters.
I don't know. In my opinion, it's just like find a different hobby. Like there's just certain things that we need as a people need to grow beyond, or else we're gonna face a lot of these issues forever and ever. And if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. We don't agree. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, see, I mean, I think of it more from the side effect of like if we don't help curb this just a little bit now, like what's that going to mean down the road for when you go to the mall, or when you go to the movie theater, or when you go to any public arena, or when you go to any place that requires that more than 10 people can congregate in? Do you have to go through a security check? Are you going to have to wait in line? Is that the police state that we're going to live in 10 or 20 years from now? And that's my only argument for like stiffer gun control, like making it really like way harder to get a gun, or making people have to go through something harder than it is to get a driver's license to get a gun, which I firmly think you should. Not because I don't think people should have guns, but I think responsible people who will show as we get our kegs in, I'll have this conversation. Yeah, I don't necessarily think we should ban them all. I just think that it should be a very, very difficult thing to get. I think it's a thing that with great power comes great responsibility. Absolutely. And I just feel like it's very, very easy to get one right now. Granted, I'm speaking from a place of ignorance. I've only seen one person in my entire life buy guns, and I think it was my mother when she bought a shotgun, and she had to wait 2 weeks and then went and picked it up.
And that's the problem too, is like it's state to state, right? That this is, and guess what? I'm ignorant on this issue, right? I don't even fucking know all the ins and outs of it. But I mean, it's state to state in terms of what the gun laws and all this different stuff. But it is the fact of, to get a driver's license, you got to take driver's ed, and you got to do this. In some school, and don't get me wrong, some states do this already, where it's like you have to take a mandatory gun thing. Yeah. I was reading the CNN article about the Jacksonville shooter, right? And he had done that to get. It's not like
it's hard, yeah.
But it was that thing where his mental, the people are saying illness, the stuff he had done, and I'm not like downplaying whatever it is. I've read one article and I'm not like memorized on it. The psychiatrist he had seen was all the stuff they talked about were through the divorce records of his parents, right? Which meant that he had never been institutionalized, which is the one thing that red flags you from doing. It's like. The system is broken, and I don't know. I just feel like I think
there's a problem with, and I know that I'm fighting this like extra hard, but
no, you're not.
When it comes down to it, like there's all the arguments that I've heard. There are 3 separate times I've been talking to people that I know that have had guns stolen from them. Yeah. That did it all right, did it all correctly, and their guns were stolen from them. Yeah. Now people that did not go to the test have these things, and there's an argument always made about like, oh, but you can kill people with cars. You can drive a car into a group of people. When I was 16 years old, 10 blocks from my house in a great neighborhood, a fucking guy stole a car and like a truck and drove it into a building, and it killed like 19 people. Like, it was fucking crazy. And one of my friends got hit by the car and broke his leg, and that shit happens. But guess what? Cars have other uses. Like that guy had problems and things. Guns' sole use is to kill things. That's it. There's not like an alternate thing for it. The use of a car is to drive, not to kill. Right? The use of a knife is to...
And also, but an argument against what I just said as well of like, oh, people should have to go get cars. Like a lot of people are stupid, drive cars as well. Mm-hmm. Totally. Like that's the thing. Like, it's tough. Again, I don't really... This is not necessarily an argument that I would make for either side. Like, again, I'm very kind of neutral on this. If you were to tell me tomorrow that the Second Amendment was repealed and all guns have to go away, I'd be like, okay. Like it wouldn't really affect my day that much. I don't go around. I have lived 38 years of my existence on this planet without ever owning a gun.
Yeah, without having a gun, right?
It hasn't changed.
And that's the thing where you're like, well, like, what's the argument for having guns and keeping them legal, right? Like, for me, and this is just such a weird thing of it, I don't have a gun. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. I don't even like shooting guns. Like, right when we went to Kevin's bachelor party, I was like, I don't need to do this. I've done it before. It is just the thing of. I don't know. It's just the thing of it's been around forever, which is a terrible argument. Mm-hmm. And I do believe in your freedom of doing different things. And it's similar to what we were talking about earlier. Prostitution should be illegal, right? And like
definitely.
drug use that doesn't really fuck things up, like marijuana and shit, of course, should be legal.
That doesn't fuck things up is the key part there. Guns
Great
fuck
point.
things
Great
up.
point.
And like there is a clear line.
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's hard,
Somewhere.
right? Because there it's a gray area too. Like when it comes to if you're broadening it out to like drugs, right? Like I don't know the schedule level of drugs. I'll leave that out. I was gonna say Schedule 1, Schedule C. I don't know what the fuck. Cocaine, heroin, the harder drugs, right? A lot of people are like, oh, those should be legal. Why not? If alcohol is legal, if cigarettes are legal, if weed's now legal, why shouldn't you make those other ones legal? And there's an argument to be made for both sides of it, right? If people like you're talking about, you're talking about guns only having one use. I would argue alcohol only has one use too, right? It's a poison you put in your body. It serves absolutely zero health benefit to put alcohol in your bloodstream. Zero. I don't care what you read. I don't care all the articles you talk about where you're like, oh, wine's great. A glass. No, it's you know what's better for you? Water. If you put that in your body, that'd be better. So why is one legal over the other? That's the hypocrisy of the society we live in, right? Why are cigarettes?
Drugs? Just for drugs or comparing drugs to guns?
Just across the board of like, we just have these arbitrary rules of what is and is not acceptable. And these things have just come largely from what I have to imagine is just corporations and special interest groups. Why are cigarettes legal still? That is a great question. That is the question I always ask. I see people, I'm like, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, these things kill people. There is no benefit to this whatsoever, except for looking cool. I'll stand by that. You do look cool when you smoke. But it's just completely absurd that is still something that is legal and acceptable in 2018, that we look at people who smoke cigarettes and go, cool, man, that's great. I'm glad that product's on the market for you to choose whether or not you want to use it. Like, no. Like, imagine if they just sold arsenic and people were just like, I'm going to just drink and then you die. At some point, we'd be like, maybe we should stop selling that product. Like, maybe the FDA should probably ban that.
They sell stuff that if you drink, it would kill you, but it's not its intended purpose, and people don't use it for that. Like, if you drank a bottle of Drano, you would die.
Right, you drink a bottle of alcohol, you can die too.
I mean,
you drink a whole bottle of Jack Daniels, you can die from that.
Yeah,
pretty easily.
But like, that's again not its intended purpose.
What's the intended purpose of cigarettes?
Enjoying them. I mean, like that's it. Like, it's just like alcohol.
I totally get it.
A little of that poison.
I'm a person who's used cigarettes a lot in the past.
I do think we're in like, guns are like similar to segregation, where it's a slow process. I think guns is taking even longer, and unfortunately, a lot of people that would like have been alive are gonna have to die for like.
Do you think we're gonna get rid of guns one day?
Eventually, yeah. I think, but
See,
like the
that's the thing.
connection.
I think that's
do you think in our lifetime?
I think that's where the frustration comes in, is because you say it's a slow process.
And not get rid of them completely, but automatic weapons. I see that.
I mean, that's like the fucking Jesus fucking Christ. Really? Can we not? We can't do even that. That's the thing where I'm like that, and I know that you think it's. I don't mean you like, but it's like for you it's binary, yes or no, right? Where for me, I feel like. A handgun, okay, I feel like you should be able to do that. And a hunting rifle, okay, you should be able to. The fucking AR silence thing, you're shooting a country music concert at. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
Well,
why do you need this fucking thing? And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I understand the placement of the Second Amendment is to defend yourself in case the government kind of goes rogue, right? That's what it's always been. Like, if the government goes rogue right now, you're not taking down an M16 with your fucking AR. You're not taking out
an empty fucking
argument. It goes back to why I don't like Man of Steel. Zod was trained from being a baby to be a soldier. I don't care if I have a gun. He has the same gun. He's gonna kill me.
Yeah, and also, I don't know that. It's hard because you look at Trump and you look at the fact that he is basically just throwing out the rule book, right, and just been like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do, and it gives credence to that argument where you're like, oh, the government can and will break the law whenever they want, right? Like, we've already seen two people who have been indicted on charges with this federal investigation, and you think to yourself, is Trump ever? Trump's probably never going to get indicted, and he's not going to get impeached, and he might get reelected in 2020.
It's like you don't know that.
I don't know that, but I'm saying that's a possibility, right? It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Like, I watched.
But at the same time, he's not throwing out the rule book. He fired several people, but like one of them that he shouldn't, and now he looks like an idiot. He wants to fire another one, but he can't, because then it will make him look really bad.
You're talking about the head of the FBI.
Yeah.
But I would, so he doesn't do what we expect a president to do, is my definition of throwing out a rule book. Whether or not you can run the country however you want if you're high enough to ascend to that office. What I'm saying is, Trump scares people. Trump says, "Oh, this guy can just go and tweet whatever the fuck he want and literally like assault people on Twitter and be shitty and like not give people his tax returns and not play by like do anything that's required of him to do."
Scares some people and emboldens others.
Scary, right? Okay, well that means the government can do whatever they want. Maybe I should have a gun to defend myself. But you're right. That argument is it's pretty silly, especially when you know what our military is capable of, and especially when you take into consideration the fact that the NSA is still pretty much listening to and recording every single thing we do. Like you talked about your phone, listening to you and giving you ads. That's fucking terrifying. And the government is still doing that. And nobody gives a shit because the conversation is shifted over to gun control. Nobody gives a shit. Everyone has people give a shit the week something happens. And then we have short-term memory and we don't fucking care anymore.
But that using the everyone, those are the people that don't matter. The people that like, there are so many people out there that really do care and are looking into it and are having conversations about it.
But that's where the frustration comes in with gun control, right? It's like Kevin talks about it's going to be a slow, long-term process. Process requires progress. I don't think that people are seeing any progress. I think that it's a stalemate conversation every time we come back to it, and that's where the frustration comes in.
I don't think that's true at all. I think that there has been
progress has been made. Have we banned any guns? Have we made it harder for people to get guns?
I think that there's more and more people having educated conversations about it from both sides that is going to lead to that sooner than later. We might not be seeing the progress in terms of like there was guns, now there's not, but I honestly feel that this whole Trump situation is only going to make America better. I really feel like that's giving more people an excuse to have conversations to realize they need to give a fuck and they need to care.
I agree
in the
with
same
you.
way that when September 11th happened, it made people grow up so much faster. It made people have to understand that there's situations out there that like politics matter. We need to have these conversations and people need to pay attention and read things. And I think that for all the reasons social media sucks, it's also the best thing ever, where now you get to see different perspectives in a way that before you would be stuck in a bubble. No one's stuck in a bubble. Not a single person.
I agree with you 90%, but then I also think there's a 10% of people just pop up, want to scream, and then they go away and they don't really think about this stuff, right? Like I'm not seeing people still march. Like you see every once in a while, the kids march from the last one into Washington. That was a very amazing statement. But we're not seeing that now, right?
That's the thing is, you're not, because the people that pop up are the ones that you're looking at. It's still happening.
No, I mean, I watch the news every night, and I see most predominantly they just talk about
every
Trump.
single weekend people are marching places doing that stuff. And it's like, especially with those kids didn't stop. It just stopped being reported on. It stopped being talked about from the mainstream level. But it's like, they're still doing it. Their voices are still being heard.
I just feel like it's not. I agree with you, and I hope it's doing chip damage. I really do. But I just don't see like grand sweeping progress. It needs to happen faster, and that's
our lives
issue.
Are only going to get better in America.
Well, again, I would also argue, by the way, that we do live in a great country, and that life is it's better to live in America right now than it ever has been. I would say that. I would say as far as the opportunities that are out there, I would say as far as the technological advancements that our country is making, I still stand by the fact that, like you were talking about, like it's never been this bad. You don't remember the 80s. You don't remember the Cold War where we thought we were going to get fucking nuked. Like that was fear mongering to its worst. Like when it was us versus Russia and the wall came down and we fucking won. Like before that, it was intense. Mm-hmm. But I remember, I was like 4
I was going to say that. I said in my life. I didn't mean like I know America's had hard times.
The time when Richard Nixon got impeached because he had a group of people called the Plumbers. And the sole purpose of the Plumbers was to break into shit and like steal shit and do. There's a fucking president, right?
Yeah.
There was actually like proof that Richard Nixon called up North Korea and was like, "Hey, back away from the peace talks until I get elected, then I'll hook you up." Like that shit happened. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
So like, but I don't also buy the fact that Trump is like the worst thing on the planet. Let me finish this thought. Because all presidents have been pretty fucking bad. Like Nixon was fucking pretty terrible.
Obama wore that tan suit. Kevin?
I was just gonna say, like, Nixon didn't get caught or didn't get impeached until he got caught.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't until those plumbers were caught at Waterfield that all this shit. Like, how long was that going on?
Sadly, the sad state of affairs is he didn't even need to have him break into that. He would have won that election no matter what. Yeah. He had to break into the DNC headquarters of Watergate. Yep. And he fucked up.
But he wanted 100%.
Dude,
he didn't want 90%.
He was very paranoid. He was very paranoid because he had a lot of skeletons in his closet that they had to keep. I'm basing all of this knowledge, by the way, off the Ken Burns documentary, Vietnam, which is fucking amazing and like 17 hours long. So if I got a lot of that wrong, please correct me.
Just blame Ken Burns. Tweet at Ken Burns.
That's true. And no, Kevin, look, I'm not saying that Trump can't get impeached, and I'm fascinated by the whole process. Yeah. I just say, we've had one president that I know of, right, in the history of our presidents that has actually he didn't get impeached. He resigned. Nixon resigned. I don't think I think they started. I don't know if they started the impeachment.
Process.
But he resigned before he was officially. He was the first president ever to resign, I think.
Yeah.
And then
Clinton got impeached.
Clinton did. I thought he resigned as no. I
No,
thought he
no,
just
he
didn't
didn't
run.
Clinton,
He just didn't run for election.
got
did he?
impeached and won the impeachment.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, he
Which-
got impeached.
Impeached
He
just-
2 terms, got impeached.
Impeached means that like you're brought to Congress.
Yeah,
to,
impeached isn't like you're fucked. It
No,
means
I know,
like,
right.
yeah, no, I'm explaining. Yeah.
Yeah, fair point.
No, he
So-
beat it. Yeah.
He beat the rap.
Everybody's like, we don't care. Put cigars in anybody, whatever.
It was a cigar holder, I
Jesus
think.
Christ.
No, it was a cigar.
I mean, I'm literally
No,
just reporting what came out of the Star Report.
100% right. Yeah, you're 100%
Put
right.
cigars in anybody. We don't care, Clinton. Just
That's
get
what
4 more
America
years.
was like at the time.
more
Again, well,
years.
his problem was that he lied about it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it was perjury.
Well, it depends what the definition of the is. What? What? What the fuck are you saying right now?
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not that I'm not doing the Alec Baldwin from way back in the day of like I'm leaving the country if anybody. Or I think it was Alec Baldwin, right? Wasn't this Kevin? Didn't Alec Baldwin make the claim he would leave the country if somebody?
a lot of
I don't even remember if it was
celebrities
Trump.
that
It
made
might have been Bush. I don't even fucking remember. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's fascinating to have someone in my life who's my partner who's just like everything here is really weird. This is a foreign country, and I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Oh, I guess it is.
I guess what's
can't
weird to me about it is that like the delineation of to me, and like, I'm not talking about Jen specifically, but it's like, then are you trying to act like it's not your problem? Like America's right next to Canada.
Oh,
It's
I
like-
talk about it all the time. When she's like, "We should get out of here if everything," and I'm like, "Baby, if shit goes sideways here, everybody goes down. It's
we
not
are responsible
this isn't,
as a people.
You're not like,
Yeah.
"Whew, glad we
We're
dodged
we're
that
kind of
bullet."
a superpower. Yeah.
Everything fucking topples when we get fucked.
We've proven with that subprime mortgage crisis that we went through that could radiate pretty much throughout the rest of the world, isn't that?
And
yeah.
it will.
And
I
it will.
mean, like that's the thing is, it's like no matter what happens, it's gonna fucking radiate, and it's gonna cause issues everywhere. Different types of issues and to varying degrees. But
You better
there's-
believe that if our shit starts to go south, we're invading Canada for sure. We're taking all our
Oh my
guns, just
God,
coming up to you,
absolutely,
fucking
yeah.
Canadians. And you know it's sad. Canada be like, come on in, hey.
Has everybody?
fine
Or
with it.
I think I know Joey. What about other people? Handmaid's Tale. Anybody watch Handmaid's Tale?
I'm not current on season 2.
I've saw
I
like
can't
half.
watch
It's
it,
so,
so.
it's fucked up.
fucked
It's a fucked up show. But spoilers a little bit, just a little bit.
Sure.
Not for any of the main characters, but in Canada they have Little America, and it's like, oh my god, that's so weird to think about. You know what I mean? They call it Little America because like they have all these expats from America that got out
What
and
do they
they
do,
live
just
in-
eat cheeseburgers and
pretty much make act like
beer?
they're better than everybody. Thanks for letting us in here, assheads. Yeah,
Thanks for being
fucking
so nice.
morons.
Apologize to me.
Yeah, there's no real point to this topic except for the fact that I feel it's like what I always go back to the GameOverGreggy show where we did the Ferguson topic in the spare bedroom, where it was the conversation of, guess what? We're going to forget about this in 3 weeks because another big thing's going to happen different. And then we'll get hung up on that for 3 weeks and another big thing will happen. And then and that's the thing with mass shootings where, especially with Jen, right? Where I've started to see the reaction of her, like the first one and like Handmaid's Tale, and then like, not that it doesn't matter, but not be nearly as intense as it was the first time, but then also me feel like shit for bringing her here to making this her reality. That this was not her reality before. This was not, and it is everyone's reality. The people getting blown up on the other side of the world in any IED, any kind of terrorist attack is my reality, but it's not my reality in the way of, fuck, I was just there last week. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I guess that's what's hard for me, right? Is my reality is not schools being shot up. And this is a harsh thing to say, but my reality is San Francisco, where it's a fairly safe area to live. And that's 90% of my time is spent here, and I work here, and I live here, and I don't feel unsafe walking around San Francisco.
Sure, but I feel like it's just interesting you take that away, because for me it's, wow, a video game tournament got shot up. Wow, Christine Grimmie was just shot at her meet and greet. I do meet and greets fucking twice a month. Not that I think any of you are going to come shoot me, but the fact of like, wow. And she wasn't fucking Meg Ryan, Angelina Jolie, some giant fucking superstar, right? She was on our level.
Like the thing with that specifically is the same month that happened, a similar YouTuber got shot in London. And
Sure.
it's like, yeah, you're absolutely
That wasn't.
right.
I wasn't throwing that as an American
yeah,
thing. I
it's-
mean, as in terms of Nick being like, oh,
No, but I mean that's what I'm saying, right? Is it depends on how micro or macro, I guess you want
I know,
to get with
I know,
it, right?
I
It's
know.
like you want to say the guns are the problem in the United States. Well, war is a huge problem in the world, and that's something that's a big issue, right? That's something where like you want to say it's bad here. How about go to Syria? Tell me what life's like in Syria right now, right? That's probably not. Like, imagine it getting so bad that you literally like, we have to get the fuck out of this country, and somebody needs to take us in. Like, and that's my thing is I refuse to let this country get anywhere closer. I don't think we'll ever get that bad, obviously, but at least that's my hope. But I'm not ready to give up on this argument yet, and I think it's an important
me
one to have.
neither.
And I'm sure
saying.
we'll catch shit for this, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who are like,
well, it's a hot button issue. Everybody's mad, and this is the same thing to what you were talking about of. For all the shit social media gets, nobody can be in a bubble anymore, right? And it's not so much screaming and running away, I think, as much as it is screaming your I have a point to make, and my point right now with Tim over a beer of like, well, you're right, I don't have all the answers about guns, but I still think they should be around to some extent. You're like, no, they shouldn't be. That's a civil conversation we get to have as friends. But when someone wants to tweet at me about this episode and it's 280 characters, it will not be civil.
But the thing is, civil or not, I feel you learned something. I feel there is a different perspective out there that you would have never gotten before.
I think for the most part there is forward progress, but I do worry, and I do see sometimes that people do get caught in that bubble of like everyone's agreeing with me, so we feel like there's progress happening, but in reality I just follow people that I have like interests with, and they're going to argue with me. Like I don't expect either of you to really disagree with me on whether or not killing someone's wrong, right, with a gun. I think we align fairly well with our viewpoints, which is why we get along, which is why we're friends, right? And I see that a lot on Twitter too.
I don't know that we do though.
We definitely do.
I mean,
broad strokes. I think broad strokes. Yeah, we all are.
That's my thing. Is like depending on how broad you want to get, then everyone agrees or everyone disagrees. I feel like we disagree a lot about.
But what I'm saying is, if I were going out, if I went out there and said like. If I looked at all my friends' accounts and their opinions on gun control, I'm pretty sure they're going to align with we need harsher gun control, or we should somewhere on the left of how that conversation is going. And that's dangerous because I'm not opening myself up to other people's opinions on it. And it's only when you do open yourself up to other people's opinions that you can have that conversation. That's what I'm saying, right? I hate to use the word echo chamber because it's been used to death, but that is what we get stuck in sometimes, where we go, I want to rage, and all our friends go, we want to rage. We go, we feel great, like we did something, and then we go away. Where in reality, there's no, like, social media doesn't give us that system for keeping the conversation going.
But see, I could not disagree more. I feel like social media doesn't allow you to be in an echo chamber. People are going to yell at you. You're going to
but
see
if you have a really polarized opinion right now, all of your followers might come to your aid, and they might eat up any of those other opinions. You might see them. Sure, you'll see them still, of course.
But see, then at some point it's a you problem, and I feel like that's the bigger thing. Is like social media is not the problem. If you aren't doing your due diligence to like look out there and read the other side or like try to understand what they're saying.
But that's not social media, right? That's different. That's where those longer form conversations.
I'm talking about
happen.
mentions. I'm talking about the people that
when
I say something, I'm trying, and people disagree with me. I read what they're saying to try to understand. When on this episode I said I've never heard an argument that makes sense. I'm about to get 1,000 arguments from people for what they say. I'm going to look at a bunch of them and take it in and try to see where they're coming from. And if they say fuck you, I'm not going to take them seriously.
I would hope that you are the example of how people should use social media. But sometimes I've seen examples otherwise where people just want to throw it out there and just find the people that align with them and push everyone else away. And that is the danger of having those conversations on social media.
Well, again, it's a them problem, though.
That's why I started that sentence off with agreeing with you that I think we're making progress and I think people are having good conversations. But we have to be weary of you have to look inward and think to yourself, am I putting this out there for validation, or am I putting it out there because I do want education and I do want to know? Like, I've had my eyes open on small things on this podcast where people go, Nick, you're totally wrong about this thing, and it stings, but I was wrong and I grew, and that's what has to happen. So now I've learned that. I've been conditioned to do that. But I worry that Joe, normal person who's not in online media like we are, who's not checking Twitter 1,000 times a day, who doesn't have friends that are popular, who doesn't have friends that are on different sides of aisles, I wonder what their perception of all this is. You know, how are they utilizing the tools? Are they helping to make progress, or are they just like, nah, fuck it, this is my hill, I'm dying on it, forget about it?
Bret, fix all this. How do we fix this? Sorry, you saw the train barrel out of the station. You step back.
Yeah. Well, step one.
I got some water.
Give me some too, please.
Honestly, I don't know. There's
no. I don't expect you to have the answer to fix it.
There's no easy fix, which is unfortunate. I don't know. I'm gonna do what Tim said he hates and be like, not middle ground, but say something, but be okay with someone else's opinion, because that's with anything. I can have a stance like, I agree, no guns. I think you don't need it, but I'm not the person to say how person A, B, C should live their lives.
Sure.
For example, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I don't necessarily like when people say they do those things, but I honestly can't say, no, you should never do them. Take them away, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because that's not fair of me. If I want to live the life that I want to live, then I should be able to let you live the life you want to live. So do whatever you want, obviously without hurting anybody. As long as everybody's cool with whatever's going on and nobody's getting hurt, then I don't care. So for the gun issue, it's like I said, it sucks. It shouldn't be this thing of where shootings are occurring and things like that. And no, nobody needs these big, giant, extravagant things. A handgun, fine. Whatever. Hunting rifle, fine. It's just going back to the original thing of if you were to ever move, I think it's kind of like a grass is greener on the other side kind of thing. Like seeing all these problems arise here, you're like, oh, well, it sucks here. Maybe it's better there. And that's also not ignorance, but not knowing information. Like I have no
100%.
idea what's going on anywhere else, like what issues they're facing and things like that.
And again, my hypothetical here, question, and like I think there's more tied to it. If I ever leave the United States to go live in Canada, it's also because, well, we've done X years in the United States. My wife would like to be close to her family. That's, a different ball of wax than if I leave, it's because of this. But it is the thing, Jen will be like, oh my God, you see what Trudeau said? You see what this is happening? Like, Canada has its own fair share of fucking issues.
Yeah.
Goddamn, he's good looking though.
He is a great looking man.
He is a beautiful son of a bitch. That's really, when you break it down, that's the only reason to bring Obama back, because he was sexy, and we need a sexy president again. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Not wrong, man. Trump's not sexy.
So yeah, the guns is a big issue, and then like as you guys were going through it, like racism is another big issue. Like, for example, earlier in the month, I saw Black Klansman, Spike Lee movie.
Oh, yeah.
Really good movie, but at the end, he goes in, and you see footage of shit that has happened recently, like things at protests and people getting hit and hurt by things, and it's just like, it's a punch right in the gut, and it sucks. And honestly, I loved the movie, and then I walked out of it, and I was pissed off. I was like, well, great. So, like, it did what it needed to in speaking its point and sharing the side, but like it sucks to see and it hurts.
That's the thing, right? Is that it sucks that this stuff hurts. Is that I like to believe that as a country we're so far beyond certain problems, racism being a big one, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever thought we were beyond gun problems, but I mean, like, like the way we've separated and the way we feel, and like the transition of it. And, all right, cool. Not even that we're as a race of white people, not even that we're cool with black people. Then they're like, oh, now we're gonna fucking take on Muslims and be like, it's like, the fuck are we doing? Why do we not see? And you'll talk to somebody who feels that way about Muslims, but is so like okay with black people. You're like, what? Do you not understand? It's the exact same issue. Like, how do you not see this is the same fucking point? It's frustrating, Tim.
It is. It's true. I believe that things are going to get better. I really do.
Well, we have to do something, though, right? That's the thing.
We're doing it. I think we're doing it.
What are we doing, though? What are we doing?
Having this
You and
conversation
me
is doing it.
I think that's not enough. I feel like there's more I should do, and I don't know what to do, and that's what I hate. And I felt the same way with Ferguson.
I know, but
my podcast record alone will make sure I don't get to the primaries.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like,
I think
you're
your
not going to be a
association with me
politician.
would make sure you don't get to the primaries.
You're my running mate.
Like we're having this conversation, which isn't going to inspire somebody that could be a politician, that could go into that is working in the government in some way, that's going to do like have their opinion swayed this way or that way because they're listening to us and are going to agree or disagree, but they're going to move things forward. I just feel like it's ignorant and flat out wrong to say that we're not in a better place now than we were 5 years ago, and to not look at the future and be like, and in some ways, of course we're not, but I'm saying overall, like the overall happiness of people, the overall where individuals are at. And I think that in 5 years, people are going to be much better off. I think that in 20 years, they're going to be way, way better off because of all this shit happening, because we have to deal with it. We have to look at it and take it at face value and be like, Trump is our president. That is a fact that will never not be true. It's true now. Like, that is something that happened, and history is going to look back on that, and people are going to look at it in the same way that we've looked at things like, wow, black people were treated that way back then. Is it fixed now? Fuck no. Is it ever going to be fully fixed? No. Is it way better than it used to be? Yes, it is. Look at how gay people are treated. Right now in 2018, in a lot of different circles and bubbles, specifically like on the West Coast, it's cool to be gay in high school. That's crazy to think about, right? Does that mean it's easy for people to come out now? Absolutely not. Does that mean is it easier than it was? It is. Is it going to be easier in 20 years? Definitely. Because we're moving that direction. I feel like overall, we're moving that direction. I feel that in America, more people in 20 years are going to be in better situations than they are now.
Yeah. I mean, I would 100% agree. The only caveat is with guns. And Kevin, you'll have to look this up because I am totally shooting from the hip here, but no pun intended. That was a bad way of saying that. But I feel like there's more guns now than ever in the country. And that, I think, is where people get frustrated, is we are making a lot of strides with social issues, but as far as like gun control is concerned, it seems like we're slipping backward. It seems like fear. What's that, Kev?
You think that there's more guns out there than there ever has been?
That's my question to you. Can you look that up? That's just...
It feels like it would be right.
I mean, again, I feel like it'll be right based on my perspective, but that doesn't necessarily align with facts.
You have a gut feeling.
At least more apparent.
So that's the thing, like, you know,
sure. And that's the other thing too, the amplification of everything, right? The fact that it is, you're live in a second, right? And you were talking about the news only talks about Trump because it is that thing where we were in the hotel for Cisco's wedding, and Jen and I were working the entire morning, and we had fucking CNN or whatever it was just on because they got 2 channels in that hotel, very weird, and it just literally it was a cycle of the same 4 stories, and it was just like, what is this? What is going on?
And of course they I mean, and this is unfair to say and sad to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's like they fucking love it when there's a shooting. They love it. They love that gives them a good like 72-hour news cycle right there when something big like that happens. So of course they're going to blow it out of the fucking water. And I'm not trying to underscore how terrible it is because it's a travesty that should not happen. But our media loves making everything the best headline it possibly, the juiciest, bloodiest headline it could possibly be. And I just think that like that gives everyone that and a lot of our mainstream just entertainment gives everything such a fucking amplified just perspective on
you
stuff.
raise an interesting topic. I mean, that should be its own topic to itself. But I mean, as somebody who's a degree in journalism, and I'm not saying you're wrong. The question becomes though, where does the media stop? Where do you want? I mean, they're doing that because people want to see that, right? I did the opposite. Sunday happened. I was playing a video game. I got a text from my aunt and Jared at the same time. And I was like, what? And I looked down and it was both about this. And I was like, what is going on? I stopped the game and I opened Twitter and I was like, oh, fuck. And it was all breaking. It was all happening as it went, right? And I watched the video, the Twitch video that everybody's seen now, I'm sure. And Jen and I broke down. Like, we just watched this. We just fucking and listened to people get shot. Broke down and I shut it down and we sat there for a while and held each other. And then it was like, all right, I'm gonna go back to the video game. And Jen went the opposite of being on Twitter. And I was like, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to tell you not to. You got to do and process how you got to. No good's going to come from that. That no one knows what's happening right now. No one is going to have the answers. No one is going to have the story. I'm shutting mine down and I'll check it in a few hours when we'll know actual things. But I've been on that other side. I remember, especially after 9/11, when there was the blackout in New York, the next summer, maybe 2-3 years after. But it was still, I was in college. I remember when that happened, being on CNN and not changing the channel. I'm like, I need to know what's fucking happening. And I feel like that's, whose problem is it? Is it the media showing it to you that way, or is it our human nature to want to know what's happening, that's why we're investigating it that way?
Got it. Sorry, Kevin brought up those stats I was asking for, so we'll read those real quick.
I don't have solid numbers.
Well, this is from 2013. I think it shows a trend. So gun manufacturing has skyrocketed. However, it looks like from an 86
to
2013, it's more than doubled. Maybe almost tripled as far as gun manufacturing in the United States is concerned. And this is taking into account guns that are also exported from the United States. So this is a lot of weapons that are being manufactured. It looks like they're in 2013, we've manufactured over 10 million weapons of all sorts. This includes pistols, revolvers, rifles, shotguns, and then miscellaneous, which is the scary group. I don't know what's in that.
That's
scroll down.
RPGs.
Yeah. But it looks like gun ownership in households has declined. This is as of 2015. It looks like it's declined by 31%. So there is progress being made. It looks like, at least from people buying fewer guns.
Rapid
and then
climb
there's been a rapid
background
climb,
checks.
and that's probably due to the rapid climb and background checks, would be my guess.
From 2000.
Well, I'm saying if you're seeing that trend from 2000 to 2015, it's declined.
It look like, but
Well, I mean, the 31 percentile, 31, excuse me, a decline of like 10% over that big of a population is probably a pretty big decline, truth be told.
As far
And give
as I
it
can
20
tell,
years.
The United States, 265 million guns.
265 million guns. Yeah, because they were saying there's more. I thought there was more than that. I thought there, at one point, wasn't there a stat like there's so many guns in America that every person in America could get like two?
There was a quote in that article that there's enough guns for every man, woman, and child.
Jeez.
Is that what it was?
Was it?
Yeah, it said that, but then it said, but that doesn't mean that everyone has one.
Of course, of course.
It said
of course,
1
of
in
course.
3.
That was just one. That was an interesting figure of saying like there's so many guns floating around that we could literally give one to every single person. There's 18 million Americans in America, so that's crazy.
Yeah.
So it looks like some progress is being made, according to that article. But let me know.
I just wish there was something. This is the same problem everybody has with this argument, whether it be mass shootings or anything. I just wish there was. The reason everybody wants to blame video games or violent movies or whatever is that everybody wants not a scapegoat. They just want an answer. Why is this happening? They want the answer, and the answer isn't black and white, except maybe the exception of we have guns. Shootings are happening because guns are
I do think
happening.
there's an argument to be made, by the way, for that. I'm not going to talk to video games, but I will say there's an argument to be made that gun violence and violence in general has been normalized through mainstream media. I do think there is something to be said there, right? If you look at it like, why is it totally acceptable that you can show people being killed on network television, but you can't show sex? That's just completely ridiculous. That's always been crazy to me. And that's always like the number one joke when you talk about some of our best friends that are in Europe or in other countries. They're like, you guys are really hung up on fucking killing each other, but be ashamed of wanting to fuck each other. Like that's crazy talk. Don't want to make love. Don't make a baby. That's crazy. Maybe let's end life. That's the importance. So I do think that's a topic for another day.
I was going to say, this is far from the final time we'll talk about any of this stuff in the Game Over.
Always fascinated by how much good and bad mainstream media can normalize things, right? Like I would argue right now we're having a great positive energy come from indie film and from YouTube and from all these creators who are getting out there and trying to normalize good things like people of color working in the industry. And, I talked about John Cho earlier and how he's one of the very few actual Asian American stars that can helm a movie. But the more and more that happens, the good things that can happen from that. But those things shape people's reality. And I'm fascinated by that because I find myself dipping into that, right? Like I'm a kid of the 80s. I'm an action movie kid. There's nothing wrong with cutting people's head off with saw blades. Arnold Schwarzenegger fucking throws a saw blade. Oh my God, that's awesome. Why can't we have more of that?
So fucking cool.
But when you grow up and that's normalized and that's acceptable, of course, maybe that's why I'm kind of numb to the idea of gun control. Like, who cares? Guns are guns, right? Yeah. But the reality is, to answer your question earlier, is the more we talk about it, the more maybe we can help shape people's reality and more we can maybe bring this back down to the ground floor of saying like, there might be a change that we can all make when it comes time to voting, when it comes time to putting something else in the office, or just coming down to the state level because state regulations are different than federal regulations. I think the conversation, we have to do our job. We have to keep having conversations like that. And we have to be receptive to people who are responsibly posting comments in the comments of this video and hitting us up on Twitter and listening to their perspectives as well.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Game Over Greggy Show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bringing a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can get each and every episode early. That's right. You can watch us as we record it. You can watch it the Friday before it posts on youtube.com/kindafunny and podcast services around the globe. Tim is putting his shoes back on. They are getting ready to be retired.
They are being retired.
They squeak. It's sad. It's very sad.
Squeak. You put the cedar things in them when you go home.
What are you talking about?
You dress
Save it for the post show. Brett, thank you for coming on and supporting us all these years. One more time, where can people watch you on Twitch?
Twitch.tv/Enigma911.
Great. Sorry, you had to go with a ride there. You got to be. Okay, good. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, we're going to do the post show, which you can watch on patreon.com/kindafunny. It's been our pleasure to serve you. Thanks for watching the Game Over Greggy Show, everybody. Click up here to subscribe to us on YouTube. Click down here to support us on Patreon, just like Brett did. Maybe you want to come on the show. Maybe some of the shows early. No big deal. Click over here to see our Kinda Funny Games page, and click down there for whatever cool Greg puts there. Maybe it's nothing. If we can figure out how to link to Brett's stuff, that'd be cool. But I don't know if you can go to Twitch easily. I don't know. We love you.